Introduction to American Politics, Part 1, based on PowerPoint presentations and lectures of Michael Hart, Ph.D., written by ChatGPT-4 and Claude 3. Opus. Chapter 1. The Essence of Politics and Power. Introduction. Politics is a ubiquitous term that permeates every aspect of human society, yet its complexities often elude many. At its core, politics is about power. Who holds it, how it is wielded, and the effects it has on society. Dahl, 1957. This chapter aims to demystify the nature of politics and power, making these concepts accessible and understandable to undergraduate students. By exploring definitions, sources, and the practical implications of politics, we shall embark on a journey to uncover the mechanisms that drive political interactions and shape our world. 1. Understanding politics. Harold Lasswell, a prominent political scientist, succinctly defined politics as who gets what, when, and how. Lasswell, 1936. This definition highlights the intrinsic link between politics and power. Politics is not just confined to the corridors of government buildings or the debates among politicians. It is an omnipresent force that influences every human interaction. Haywood, 2013. Wherever there is more than one person, power dynamics and thus politics come into play. In today's world, power is increasingly concentrated in the hands of artificial persons, entities like governments, corporations, and international bodies, Weil, 2007. These entities, though not human, wield significant influence over natural persons, individuals, and other artificial persons alike. 2. The nature of power. Power is the ability to influence others' behavior to get the desired outcome regardless of their wishes, Luke's, 2005. It can be direct like a government imposing laws or indirect like a celebrity endorsing a political opinion. Measuring power can be complex, often requiring indirect methods to assess its real impact on society and individual lives. Nye, 2004. 3. Sources of power. Power stems from various sources, each playing a distinct role in shaping political outcomes. Numbers. In democratic societies, majority rules exemplifying how sheer numbers can translate into power. Dahl, 1989. Similarly, on a battlefield, larger forces tend to have a strategic advantage, assuming all other factors like technology and leadership are equal. Financial, economic power is straightforward yet potent. Wealthy individuals and corporations can influence political decisions by funding campaigns or lobbying for legislation that favors their interests. Frank, 2004. They can also exert power indirectly by threatening economic consequences like layoffs, which can sway political decisions. Personal attributes. Charisma, energy, and communication skills are personal sources of power. Weber, 1947. Individuals who possess these traits can inspire, persuade, and lead more effectively, pushing their political agendas forward. Authority. Institutional power or authority is most discussed in political science. This includes the power held by elected officials, law enforcement, and other entities officially sanctioned to make, enforce, or interpret laws. Arendt, 1970. Knowledge and physical power. Knowledge is power because informed decisions are usually more effective. Institutions like universities and think tanks concentrate knowledge and thereby power. Foucault, 1980. Physical power, though less subtle, remains a critical component of political power wielded by military and police forces. Importance of studying politics. Studying politics is essential for several reasons: legitimacy and stability. Understanding politics helps legitimize the power that governments hold and contributes to societal stability by educating the population about the structures and functions of their governance. Lipset, 1959. Awareness and preparedness. Politics affects everyone, whether they actively participate or not. Knowledge of political processes and potential outcomes enables individuals to better anticipate and react to political events. Putnam, 2000. Influence and change. Armed with political knowledge, individuals and groups are better equipped to influence change or resist it depending on their goals. Tarot, 1998. Intellectual curiosity. At a fundamental level, studying politics satisfies the natural human desire to understand the forces that shape our lives and the world around us. Aristotle, 350 BCE. Conclusion. Politics and power are intertwined in the fabric of human civilization, influencing every interaction and decision. By demystifying these concepts, students can gain a clearer understanding of how their world is shaped by these forces. This knowledge not only prepares them for more informed civic participation, but also empowers them to forge a path that can influence political outcomes in their communities and beyond. References: Arendt H., 1970. On Violence. Houghton, Mifflin Harcourt. Aristotle, 350 BCE. Politics, The Internet Classics Archive. Dahl R.A., 1957. The Concept of Power. Behavioral Science 2.3, 201-215. Dahl R.A., 1989. Democracy and Its Critics. Yale University Press. Foucault M., 1980. Power Knowledge. Selected Interviews and Other Writings. 1972-1977. Vintage. Frank T., 2004. What's the Matter with Kansas? How Conservatives Won the Heart of America. Henry Holt and Company. Haywood A., 2013. Politics, Palgrave Macmillan. Laswell H.D., 1936. Politics, Who Gets What, When, How. Whittlesey House. Lipset S.M., 1959. Some Social Requisites of Democracy, Economic Development, and Political Legitimacy. American Political Science Review, 53-1, 69-105. Lukes S., 2005. Power, A Radical View. Second Eddy. Palgrave Macmillan. Nye J.S., 2004. Soft Power, The Means to Success in World Politics. Public Affairs, Putnam R.D., 2000. Bowling Alone, The Collapse and Revival of American Community. Simon & Schuster. Tarot S., 1998. Power and Movement. Social Movements and Contentious Politics. Cambridge University Press. Weil M.J.C., 2007. Politics in the USA. Routledge. Weber M., 1947. The Theory of Social and Economic Organization. Simon & Schuster. Glossary Artificial Persons. Entities such as governments, corporations, and international bodies that, although not human, wield significant power and influence over individuals and other entities. Authority. The institutionalized power held by entities such as elected officials, law enforcement, and other bodies officially sanctioned to make, enforce, or interpret laws. Charisma. A personal attribute that enables an individual to inspire, persuade, and lead others more effectively. Economic power. The ability to influence political decisions through financial means such as funding campaigns, lobbying, or threatening economic consequences. Institutional power. The power derived from holding a position within an established institution, such as a government, military, or corporation. Knowledge power. The influence gained through the possession and control of information, often concentrated in institutions like universities and think tanks. Legitimacy. The perceived rightfulness of a government or political system, often derived from the understanding and acceptance of its structures and functions by the governed population. Majority rule. A democratic principle in which the decision supported by more than half of the participants becomes the official choice, exemplifying the power of numbers. Natural persons. Individual human beings as opposed to artificial persons like corporations or governments. Personal attributes. Individual qualities such as charisma, energy, and communication skills that can serve as sources of power. Physical power. The power derived from the ability to exert force or the threat of force typically associated with military and police forces. Political participation. The actions taken by individuals or groups to influence political decisions, such as voting, protesting, or lobbying. Political stability. The continuity and predictability of a political system, often fostered by widespread understanding and acceptance of its structures and processes. Politics. the processes and activities associated with the governance of a country or area, especially the debate between parties having power. Power, the ability to influence the behavior of others to achieve a desired outcome, even against their will. Soft power, the ability to shape the preferences of others through appeal and attraction, often through cultural, ideological, or institutional means, as opposed to hard power, which relies on coercion or force. Chapter 2. The Drivers of American Politics, in the 2020 Seconds Introduction. American politics in the 2020 seconds is a complex tapestry woven from various threads, each contributing to the overall landscape. From shifting demographics to rapid technological advancements, a myriad of factors shape the political discourse and policy-making processes in the United States. Sides and Others, 2018. This chapter explores the major forces driving American politics today, providing undergraduate students with a comprehensive understanding of the contemporary political environment and its implications for the future. 1. Polarization. A nation divided. One of the most significant trends in American politics is the increasing polarization between the two major political parties and among the electorate. Pew Research Center 2017. Issues such as abortion, affirmative action, gun control, climate change, transgender rights, and crime have become highly contentious, with stark differences in opinion leading to a deeply divided national landscape. Haidt and Lukianoff 2018. This polarization affects legislative processes, electoral outcomes, and even personal relationships, creating a political climate marked by conflict and partisanship. The roots of this polarization are complex, stemming from a combination of factors such as ideological sorting, media echo chambers, and the increasing influence of special interest groups. Mason, 2018. As individuals increasingly align themselves with political parties that reflect their personal beliefs, they become less exposed to alternative viewpoints, leading to a reinforcement of existing biases. Iyengar and Westwood, 2015. The rise of partisan media outlets and the proliferation of fake news on social media platforms further exacerbate this divide, as individuals are more likely to encounter information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs. Alcott and Gentzkow, 2017. The consequences of this polarization are far-reaching, impacting both the functioning of government and the social fabric of the nation. In Congress, bipartisan cooperation has become increasingly rare, with legislators often prioritizing party loyalty over compromise. Theriault, 2013. This gridlock hinders the ability of the government to address pressing issues and enact meaningful legislation. Moreover, the public's trust in government and political institutions has eroded, with many Americans expressing frustration with the inability of elected officials to bridge divides and work together for the common good. Pew Research Center 2019. Overcoming this polarization will require a concerted effort from political leaders, media organizations, and the public alike. Encouraging open dialogue, promoting media literacy, and fostering a greater understanding of diverse perspectives are essential steps in bridging the divide. Lukianoff and Haidt, 2018. By creating spaces for constructive engagement and prioritizing the search for common ground, Americans can begin to heal the wounds of polarization and work towards a more united future. 2. Internationalization. The global dimensions of American politics. Despite domestic polarization, American politics has become increasingly internationalized, with issues such as immigration, international trade, and environmental policy having significant global dimensions. Putnam, 2018. Both major political parties support aspects of economic globalization, including outsourcing and economic immigration, which reflects a complex interdependence between national policies and global dynamics. Hurst and Others, 2015. This internationalization has profound implications for American economic policies and its role on the global stage. In an increasingly interconnected world, the decisions made in Washington, D.C. have far-reaching consequences beyond the nation's borders. For example, U.S. trade policies such as tariffs and trade agreements can have significant impacts on global economic growth and international relations. Irwin, 2017. Similarly, the nation's stance on climate change and environmental protection has significant implications for global efforts to address this pressing issue. Keohane and Victor, 2016. The internationalization of American politics also presents challenges for policymakers as they must navigate a complex web of global interests and power dynamics. The rise of China as an economic and geopolitical rival has added a new dimension to U.S. foreign policy, with concerns over trade imbalances, intellectual property rights, and military expansion shaping the bilateral relationship. Allison, 2017. Similarly, the ongoing challenges posed by international terrorism, nuclear proliferation, and regional conflicts require a delicate balancing act between national security interests and multilateral cooperation. Gottlieb, 2018. As the United States seeks to maintain its position as a global leader in the 21st century, it will need to adapt to the changing international landscape and develop policies that promote both national interests and global stability. Haas, 2017. This will require a greater understanding of the complex interdependencies that characterize the modern world, and a willingness to engage in multilateral cooperation to address shared challenges. By embracing its role as a responsible global stakeholder, the United States can help shape a more peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable future for all. 3. Disengagement of the young, a generational challenge. Political engagement among the youngest voters, those aged 18-29, is notably lower than that of older demographics. Pew Research Center, 2018. This group tends to vote at lower rates and shows less interest in traditional political activities. Dalton, 2015. Understanding why younger citizens are disengaged and exploring ways to increase their participation are critical challenges for sustaining a healthy democratic process. Several factors contribute to the political disengagement of young Americans. One significant issue is the perception that the political system is unresponsive to their needs and concerns. Lawless and Fox, 2015. Many young people feel that their voices are not heard by elected officials, and that the political process is dominated by special interests and wealthy donors. Schlossman and others, 2012. Additionally, the negative tone of modern political campaigns and the lack of civility in public discourse may discourage young people from participating in the political process. Shea and Fiorina, 2016. Another factor contributing to youth disengagement is the changing nature of political participation in the digital age. While young people are often highly engaged with social and political issues online, this engagement does not always translate into traditional forms of political participation, such as voting or attending campaign events. Kana and Boyer, 2018. The fragmentation of the media landscape and the rise of echo chambers on social media platforms may also contribute to a sense of disconnection from the broader political system. Sunstein, 2017. Addressing the disengagement of young voters will require a multifaceted approach that includes efforts to make the political system more responsive to their concerns, promote civic education, and encourage alternative forms of political participation. Levine, 2015. By creating opportunities for meaningful engagement and empowering young people to take an active role in shaping their political future, we can help foster a new generation of informed and engaged citizens. 4. Increasing power of women, reshaping the political landscape. Women are increasingly influential in American politics both as voters and as leaders. Dittmar, 2018. They attend and graduate from college at higher rates than men and are assuming positions of authority across various sectors. Hess and Hegewisch, 2019. The economic and political rise of women has reshaped the policy agenda to include more issues of particular concern to women and has influenced the overall approach to governance and representation. One significant milestone in the rising power of women in American politics was the 2018 midterm elections, which saw a record number of women elected to Congress, including the first Muslim women and the first Native American women, Center for American Women and Politics, 2019. This increase in representation has brought greater attention to issues such as gender equality, reproductive rights, and family leave policies. Lawless and Fox, 2018. The presence of more women in leadership roles has also challenged traditional notions of power and authority, promoting a more collaborative and inclusive approach to decision-making. Barnes and Beaulieu, 2018. The growing influence of women in American politics has also been reflected in the changing priorities of political parties and campaigns. In recent years, both major parties have made concerted efforts to appeal to women voters, recognizing their critical role in determining electoral outcomes. Dolan, 2014. This has led to a greater focus on issues such as pay equity, child care, and violence against women, as well as increased efforts to recruit and support women candidates. Sanbonmatsu, 2016. Despite these gains, women continue to face significant barriers to full political equality, including persistent gender stereotypes, discrimination, and structural inequalities. Schneider, 2019. Overcoming these challenges will require ongoing efforts to promote gender diversity in leadership roles, challenge entrenched biases, and create a more inclusive political culture that values the contributions of women. Dittmar, 2020. By harnessing the growing power of women in American politics, we can work towards a more just, equitable, and representative democracy. 5. New demographic realities. The changing face of America. The United States is experiencing significant demographic shifts with profound implications for the political landscape. By 2024, states like California, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, and Hawaii became majority-minority states where the majority of the population are from minority groups. Colby and Ortman, 2017. This trend is expected to continue fundamentally altering the political landscape as new demographic groups gain electoral influence and reshape policy priorities. One of the most significant demographic changes is the growing Latino population, which is projected to reach 111 million by 2060, accounting for 28% of the total U.S. population. Flores, 2017. This growth has already had a significant impact on American politics, with Latino voters playing a critical role in key swing states such as Florida, Nevada, and Arizona. Lopez and others, 2019. As the Latino population continues to grow and become more politically engaged, it is likely to reshape the policy agenda around issues such as immigration, healthcare, and education. Krogstad, 2019. Another significant demographic shift is the aging of the U.S. population, with the number of Americans aged 65 and older projected to nearly double by 2060. Vespa et al., 2018. These growing elderly population will place increasing demands on social programs, such as Social Security and Medicare, requiring policymakers to grapple with difficult questions about long-term fiscal sustainability. Mather, 2016. The changing age structure of the population is also likely to impact political preferences, with older voters tending to prioritize issues such as health care and retirement security. Brownstein, 2019. The increasing racial and ethnic diversity of the U.S. population is also reshaping the political landscape. The share of the population that identifies as non-Hispanic white is projected to decline from 60% in 2019 to 44% by 2060. Frey, 2018. This shift is likely to have significant implications for political representation as minority groups gain greater electoral clout and demand more responsive policymaking. Tate, 2019. The growing diversity of the electorate may also challenge traditional political coalitions and create new opportunities for cross-racial alliances. Guest 2018. Navigating these new demographic realities will require political leaders to embrace a more inclusive and responsive approach to governance. By understanding the changing face of America and working to address the needs and concerns of diverse communities, policymakers can help create a more equitable and sustainable political future for all. 6. Labor shortages, economic challenges, and policy implications. Labor shortages across many states have become a critical issue impacting various sectors and influencing economic policies, immigration debates, and educational priorities. Capelli 2015. These shortages are driven by a combination of factors including an aging workforce, declining birth rates, and mismatches between the skills required by employers and those possessed by job seekers. Holzer 2019. Addressing these shortages requires a nuanced understanding of the economic and demographic factors at play. One significant factor contributing to labor shortages is the changing nature of work in the 21st century. As automation and artificial intelligence increasingly reshape the economy, many traditional jobs are being displaced, while new jobs requiring different skills are emerging. Muro and others 2017. This shift has created a growing demand for workers with advanced technical skills, particularly in fields such as computer science engineering and data analysis. Buggen and others 2018. At the same time, many employers report difficulty finding workers with the necessary soft skills, such as communication, collaboration, and problem-solving. Deming 2017. Another factor contributing to labor shortages is the decline in labor force participation, particularly among prime-age workers. Abraham and Kearney 2018. This decline is driven by a range of factors, including the opioid epidemic, mass incarceration, and declining economic opportunities in certain regions. Kruger 2017. Addressing these underlying social and economic challenges will be critical to boosting labor force participation and alleviating labor shortages. The policy implications of labor shortages are significant and far-reaching. In the short term, policymakers may need to consider immigration reforms to attract skilled workers from abroad and fill critical gaps in the labor market. Kerr 2018. In the longer term, investing in education and workforce development programs will be essential to equipping workers with the skills needed to succeed in the changing economy. Holzer 2015. This may require a fundamental rethinking of the role of higher education, with a greater emphasis on lifelong learning and continuous skill development. Carnival et al. 2016. Addressing labor shortages will also require a more regional approach to economic development, recognizing the unique strengths and challenges of different communities. Berube 2019. By tailoring policies to the specific needs of local labor markets and investing in place-based strategies, policymakers can help create more resilient and inclusive economies that provide opportunities for all workers. 7. Concern over the impact of AI, navigating the technological frontier. The rapid development and implementation of artificial intelligence, AI, technologies, present both opportunities and challenges for American politics. The general public has limited access to the capabilities that some major corporations and intelligence agencies possess, raising concerns about privacy, employment, and ethical standards in the use of AI. West and Allen 2018. As AI continues to advance and reshape various sectors of the economy and society, policymakers will need to grapple with complex questions about regulation, accountability, and the distribution of benefits and risks. One significant concern surrounding AI is its potential impact on employment and income inequality. As AI and automation increasingly displace human workers in industries such as manufacturing, transportation, and retail, there are fears that it could lead to widespread job losses and exacerbate existing economic disparities. Acemoglu and Restrepo 2018. While some experts argue that AI will also create new jobs and boost productivity, there is a risk that the benefits will be unevenly distributed, with highly skilled workers reaping the rewards, while lower skilled workers are left behind. Brynjolfsson and McAfee 2014. Another major concern is the potential for AI to perpetuate and amplify existing biases and discrimination. If AI systems are trained on biased data or designed with flawed assumptions, they can reproduce and even exacerbate societal inequalities. O'Neill, 2017. This is particularly concerning in areas such as hiring, lending, and criminal justice, where AI algorithms are increasingly being used to make consequential decisions about people's lives. Eubanks, 2018. Ensuring that AI systems are transparent, accountable, and fair will be a critical challenge for policymakers in the years ahead. The use of AI in surveillance and national security also raises significant privacy and civil liberties concerns. As governments and law enforcement agencies increasingly rely on AI-powered tools for monitoring and tracking individuals, there are fears that it could lead to a dystopian future of ubiquitous surveillance and social control. Zuboff, 2019. Striking the right balance between security and privacy in the age of AI will require ongoing public debate and careful regulation. To navigate the challenges and opportunities presented by AI policymakers, we'll need to develop a more proactive and adaptive approach to regulation and governance. Wallach and Allen, 2018. This may require the creation of new regulatory frameworks that can keep pace with the rapid evolution of AI technologies, as well as greater collaboration between government, industry, academia, and civil society. Kalo, 2017. It will also be important to invest in research and education to help the public better understand the implications of AI and participate in shaping its development and deployment. Webb, 2019. Ultimately, the impact of AI on American politics and society will depend on the choices we make as a nation. By proactively addressing the challenges and opportunities presented by this transformative technology, we can work towards a future in which the benefits of AI are widely shared and its risks are carefully managed. 8. The wealth gap, economic inequality, and political consequences. Economic inequality remains a persistent issue in American society, with a significant portion of wealth concentrated among millionaires and billionaires, while a considerable number of people live in poverty. Saez and Zuckman, 2016. The wealth gap drives much of the political debate over tax policies, social welfare programs, and economic justice, and has far-reaching implications for social stability and democratic governance. One of the most striking aspects of the wealth gap is the sheer scale of the disparity. According to a 2022 report by the Federal Reserve, the wealthiest 1% of Americans owned 32.1% of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% held just 2.6%. Federal Reserve 2022. This concentration of wealth has been growing steadily in recent decades, driven by factors such as technological change, globalization, and changes in tax policy. Piketty, 2014. The political consequences of this inequality are significant. As wealth becomes increasingly concentrated in the hands of a small elite, there are concerns that it could lead to a disproportionate influence over the political process. Page and others, 2018. Wealthy individuals and corporations can use their resources to shape public opinion, influence policy debates, and even directly finance political campaigns. Gillens and Page, 2014. This raises questions about the health of American democracy and the ability of ordinary citizens to have their voices heard in the political process. The wealth gap also has significant implications for social and economic mobility. As the cost of education, healthcare, and housing continues to rise, many low- and middle-income families are finding it increasingly difficult to access the opportunities they need to advance economically. Chetty and others, 2017. This lack of mobility can lead to a sense of frustration and disillusionment as people feel that the American dream is increasingly out of reach. Graham, 2017. Addressing these challenges will require a range of policy interventions, including investments in education and training reforms to the tax code and efforts to boost wages and create good-paying jobs. Kruger, 2015. The wealth gap has also become a central issue in American political campaigns, with candidates across the political spectrum offering competing visions for addressing inequality and promoting economic justice. Solt, 2020. Some have called for a more progressive tax system with higher rates on the wealthy and corporations, while others have emphasized the need for deregulation and economic growth. Reich, 2017. Navigating these debates will require a careful balancing of competing priorities, including the need to promote economic dynamism and innovation, while also ensuring that the benefits of growth are more widely shared. Ultimately, addressing the wealth gap will require a sustained commitment from policymakers, businesses, and civil society to promote greater economic inclusion and opportunity. This may involve challenging entrenched interests and rethinking long-held assumptions about the role of government and the market in shaping economic outcomes. Stiglitz, 2015. By working to build a more equitable and inclusive economy, we can help ensure that the benefits of prosperity are more widely shared and that the American dream remains within reach for all. 9. Governmental challenges in controlling costs. The fiscal imperative. National and state governments struggle to control costs in critical areas such as healthcare and higher education, affecting policy decisions and having long-term implications for economic stability and social equity. Reinhardt, 2019. The rising costs of these essential services place a significant burden on government budgets and on individual citizens, leading to difficult trade-offs and fiscal challenges. In the healthcare sector, the United States spends far more per capita than any other developed nation, yet often achieves worse outcomes in terms of life expectancy and overall health. Papanikolaou and others, 2018. Much of this spending is driven by high prices for medical services, pharmaceuticals, and administrative costs. Anderson and others, 2019. Efforts to control healthcare costs have been a central focus of policy debates for decades, but progress has been limited and costs continue to rise. Fuchs, 2020. Similarly, in higher education, the cost of tuition and fees has been growing much faster than inflation, leading to a growing burden of student debt and concerns about access and affordability. Archibald and Feldman, 2010. This cost growth is driven by a range of factors, including declining state support for public universities, increased spending on amenities and administration, and a lack of price transparency. Bowen, 2012. Addressing these challenges will require a combination of cost control measures, reforms to the financial aid system, and efforts to improve the quality and value of higher education. Deming and Walters, 2017. The fiscal challenges posed by rising healthcare and education costs have significant implications for government budgets and for the overall economy. As these costs consume an ever larger share of public resources, they can crowd out spending on other important priorities such as infrastructure research and development and social welfare programs. Biker and Skinner, 2011. This fiscal strain can also contribute to rising deficits and debt levels, which can undermine long-term economic growth and stability. Elmendorf and Shiner, 2017. Addressing these fiscal challenges will require a range of policy interventions and a willingness to make difficult trade-offs. In the healthcare sector, this may involve efforts to promote competition, reduce administrative costs, and shift towards value-based payment models. Cutler, 2018. In higher education, it may require a greater emphasis on cost-effectiveness, transparency, and accountability, as well as efforts to promote innovation and efficiency. Carey, 2019. More broadly, controlling costs in healthcare and education will require a fundamental rethinking of the role of government and the market in these sectors. This may involve a greater emphasis on public-private partnerships, regulatory reforms, and efforts to empower consumers and promote competition. Klein, 2014. It will also require a sustained commitment from policymakers and stakeholders to prioritize long-term fiscal sustainability and to make the difficult choices necessary to bend the cost curve. Ultimately, the challenge of controlling costs in healthcare and education is not just a fiscal imperative, but a moral one. By working to ensure that these essential services are affordable, accessible, and of high quality, we can promote greater social equity, economic opportunity, and overall well-being for all Americans. 10. Population shifts. The changing geography of American politics. Significant population shifts, with some states experiencing population losses, while others gain impact, political representation, and resource allocation. Frey, 2021. These shifts influence electoral college dynamics, federal funding distribution, and local policy priorities, creating both opportunities and challenges for policymakers and communities. One of the most significant population shifts in recent years has been the movement of people from the Northeast and Midwest to the South and West. Frey, 2020. This shift is driven by a range of factors, including job growth, affordable housing, and quality of life considerations. Florida, 2019. As a result, states like Texas, Florida, and Arizona have seen significant population gains, while states like New York, Illinois, and Pennsylvania have experienced population losses. U.S. Census Bureau, 2021. These population shifts have significant implications for political representation, particularly in the context of the electoral college system. As states gain or lose population, they also gain or lose electoral votes, which can shift the balance of power in presidential elections. Edwards, 2011. In recent years, this has led to a growing emphasis on swing states like Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina, which have seen significant population growth and are increasingly competitive in national elections. Goldfield, 2019. Population shifts also have significant implications for federal funding and resource allocation. Many federal programs, such as Medicaid and transportation funding, are allocated based on population size and growth. Reamer, 2015. As a result, states and localities that are experiencing population gains may see increased federal funding, while those with population losses may face budget shortfalls and decreased resources. Weigel, 2017. At the local level, population shifts can create both challenges and opportunities for communities. Cities and towns that are experiencing population growth may face pressures on infrastructure, housing, and public services. Glaser and Gyurko, 2018. At the same time, population growth can also bring new economic opportunities, cultural diversity, and civic engagement. Florida, 2012. Conversely, communities that are losing population may struggle to maintain basic services and attract new investment, leading to a cycle of decline. Doherty and Lowe, 2020. Navigating these population shifts will require a proactive and adaptive approach from policymakers at all levels of government. At the federal level, this may involve reforms to the electoral college system, as well as efforts to ensure that funding formulas and resource allocation mechanisms are fair and equitable. Wegman, 2020. At the state and local level, it may require efforts to promote regional cooperation, invest in infrastructure and public services, and foster inclusive economic development strategies. Katz and Bradley, 2013. Ultimately, the changing geography of American politics reflects the dynamism and diversity of the nation. By embracing these changes and working to build more resilient, equitable, and inclusive communities, we can harness the power of population shifts to create a more vibrant and sustainable future for all Americans. Conclusion. The drivers of American politics in the 2020 seconds are complex, multifaceted, and interconnected. From the increasing polarization of the electorate to the transformative impact of demographic change, these forces are reshaping the political landscape in profound ways. Understanding these drivers is essential for navigating the challenges and opportunities of the current moment. At the same time, it is important to recognize that these drivers are not fixed or immutable. Through intentional effort and strategic action, policymakers, activists, and citizens can work to shape the direction and impact of these forces. By promoting greater empathy and understanding across political divides, investing in the next generation of leaders, and embracing the power of diversity and inclusion, we can build a more just, equitable, and responsive political system. Ultimately, the future of American politics will be determined by the choices we make as a society. By engaging critically with the drivers of change and working to build a more perfect union, we can chart a course towards a brighter, more hopeful future for all. References Abraham K.G. and Kearney, M.S., 2018. Explaining the decline in the U.S. employment-to-population ratio, a review of the evidence. Journal of Economic Literature, 58-3, 585-643, Acemoglu, D. and Restrepo, P. 2018. The Race Between Man and Machine, Implications of Technology for Growth Factor Shares and Employment, American Economic Review 1086, 1488-1542, Alcott H. and Genskow M. 2017. Social Media and Fake News in the 2016 Election, Journal of Economic Perspectives 31-2, 211-236, Allison G. 2017. Destined for War, Can America and China Escape Thucydides' Trap? Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, Anderson G., F. Hussey P., and Petrosian Phi, 2019. It's still the price is stupid. Why the U.S. spends so much on healthcare and a tribute to Uwe Reinhardt. Health Affairs 38-1, 87-95. Archibald R.B. and Feldman, D.H., 2010. Why does college cost so much? Oxford University Press, Biker K. and Skinner, J., 2011. Healthcare Spending Growth and the Future of U.S. Tax Rates. Tax Policy and the Economy, 25-1, 39-68, Barnes, T. D. and Beaulieu, E.C., 2018. Women, Politicians, Institutions, and Perceptions of Corruption. Comparative Political Studies, 52-1, 134-167. Berube A., 2019. Small and Mid-Sized Legacy Communities. Trends, Assets, and Principles for Action. Metropolitan Policy Program at Brookings. Bowen W.G., 2012. The Cost Disease in Higher Education. Is Technology the Answer? The Tanner Lectures, Stanford University. Brownstein R., 2019, June 13th. The Gray Gender Gap. Older women are likelier to go it alone. CNN. CNN, Brynjolfsson, E. and McAfee A., 2014. The Second Machine Age. Work Progress and Prosperity in a Time of Brilliant Technologies. W. Norton and Company. Buggenjay, Hazan, E. Lund, S. Dahlstrom, P. Wiesinger, A. and Subramaniam A., 2018. Skill Shift, Automation and the Future of the Workforce. McKinsey Global Institute. Kalo R., 2017. Artificial Intelligence Policy, A Primer and Roadmap. UC Davis Law Review, 51, 399-435, Carey K., 2019. The End of College, Creating the Future of Learning and the University of Everywhere. Riverhead Books, Carnival, A.P. Jayasundara T. and Gulish, A., 2016. America's Divided Recovery. College Haves and Have-Nots. Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce. Center for American Women and Politics, 2019. Results: Women candidates in the 2018 elections. Eagleton Institute of Politics, Rutgers University, Rutgers. PDF: Chetty R. Grusky D. Hell, M. Hendren, N. Manduka R. and Narang, J. 2017. The Fading American Dream, Trends in Absolute Income Mobility Since 1940, Science 356-63D36, 398-406, Colby S. L. and Ortman J. M. 2017. Projections of the Size and Composition of the U.S. Population, 2014 to 2060. Population Estimates and Projections, U.S. Census Bureau, Census Cutler, D.M., 2018. What is the U.S. health spending problem? Health Affairs, 37-3, 493-497, Dalton R.J., 2015. The Good Citizen, How a Younger Generation is Reshaping American Politics, Sage Publications, Deming D.J., 2017. The Growing Importance of Social Skills in the Labor Market. The Quarterly Journal of Economics, 132-4, 1593-1640. Daming D. and Walters, C. 2017. The Impact of Price Caps and Spending Cuts on U.S. Post-Secondary Attainment. NBER Working Paper Number 23736. Dittmar K. 2018. Disrupting the woman as politician stereotype. Broadening our understanding of women's political participation. P.S. Political Science and Politics, 51-3. 569-573. Dittmar K. 2020. Advancing Women's Political Power in the Next Century. Daedalus, 149-1, 222-2236. Doherty C. and Low T. 2020, April 6. How People in Urban and Rural Communities See Each Other and Say Others See Them. Pew Research Center. Pew Research Dolan K. 2014. When Does Gender Matter? Women Candidates and Gender Stereotypes in American Elections. Oxford University Press. Edwards G. C. 2011. Why the Electoral College is Bad for America. Yale University Press. Elmendorf, D.W. and Shiner L.M. 2017. Federal Budget Policy with an Aging Population and Persistently Low Interest Rates. Journal of Economic Perspectives, 31-3, 175-194. Eubanks Fass, 2018. Automating Inequality, How High-Tech Tools Profile Police and Punish the Poor. St. Martin's Press, Federal Reserve, 2022. Survey of Consumer Finances. Federal Reserve AFIC.WCAT Population, All Florida R, 2012. The Rise of the Creative Class Revisited. Basic Books, Florida R, 2019. The Geography of America's Mobile and Stuck Mapped. Bloomberg City Lab. Bloomberg Floors A, 2017, September 18th. How the U.S. Hispanic Population is Changing. Pew Research Center. Pew Research Frey W.H., 2018. The U.S. will become minority white in 2045. Census projects. Youthful minorities are the engine of future growth. Brookings Institution. Brookings Frey W.H., 2020. The nation is diversifying even faster than predicted according to new census data. Brookings Institution. Brookings Frey W.H., 2021. Who is moving and why? 7 questions about residential mobility in the U.S. University of Michigan Institute for Social Research. UMich. Fuchs V. R. 2020. Healthcare Policy After the COVID-19 Pandemic. JAMA 324-3, 233-234. Jess J. 2018. The New Minority, White Working Class Politics in an Age of Immigration and Inequality. Oxford University Press, Gillens M. and Page B. I. 2014. Testing Theories of American Politics, Elites, Interest Groups, and Average Citizens. Perspectives on Politics 12-3, 564-581. Glazer, E. L. and Gyorko J. 2018. The Economic Implications of Housing Supply. Journal of Economic Perspectives 32-1, 3-30. Gottlieb S. 2018. Uncontrolled Spread, Why COVID-19 Crushed Us and How We Can Defeat the Next Pandemic. Harper, Graham C. 2017. Happiness for All, Unequal Hopes and Lives in Pursuit of the American Dream. Princeton University Press. Haas R. 2017. A World in Disarray, American Foreign Policy and the Crisis of the Old Order. Penguin, Haidt J. and Lukianoff G. 2018. The Coddling of the American Mind. How Good Intentions and Bad Ideas Are Setting Up a Generation for Failure. Penguin Press. Hess C. and Hegewisch A. 2019. The Future of Care Work, Improving the Quality of America's Fastest-Growing Jobs. Institute for Women's Policy Research. IWPR Hurst P. Thompson G. and Bromley S. 2015. Globalization in Question. John Wiley and Sons. Holzer H. 2015. Job Market Polarization and U.S. Worker Skills, A Tale of Two Middles, Brookings Institution, Brookings, Holzer H. J., 2019, October 31. The U.S. Labor Market in 2050, Supply, Demand, and Policies to Improve Outcomes, Brookings Institution, Irwin D. A., 2017, Clashing Over Commerce, A History of U.S. Trade Policy, University of Chicago Press, Iyengar S. and Westwood S. J., 2015. Fear and Loathing Across Party Lines, New Evidence on Group Polarization. American Journal of Political Science, 59-3, 690-707. Connie, J. and Bowyer, B. 2018. The Political Significance of Social Media Activity and Social Networks. Political Communication, 35-3, 470, 493. Katz, B. and Bradley, J. 2013. The Metropolitan Revolution. How Cities and Metros Are Fixing Our Broken Politics and Fragile Economy. Brookings Institution Press. Keohane, R. O. and Victor, D.G. 2016. Cooperation and Discord in Global Climate Policy. Nature Climate Change. 6, 570, 575. Kerr, W.R. 2018. The Gift of Global Talent. How Migration Shapes Business, Economy, and Society. Stanford University Press. Klein, E. 2014. This Changes Everything. Capitalism Against the Climate. Simon & Schuster. Krogstad, J. M. 2019, July 30th. Key Facts About U.S. Hispanics and Their Diverse Heritage. Pew Research Center. Pew Research, Kruger, A.B. 2015. How Tight is the Labor Market? Proceedings of the Annual Meeting of the National Tax Association, 108, 1-33. Entanet, Kruger, A.B. 2017. Where Have All the Workers Gone? An Inquiry into the Decline of the U.S. Labor Force Participation Rate. Brookings Papers on Economic Activity, 2017, 2. 187. Lawless, J.L. and Fox, R.L., 2015. Running from Office, Why Young Americans Are Turned Off to Politics. Oxford University Press. Lawless, J.L. and Fox, R.L., 2018. A Trump Effect? Women and the 2018 Midterm Elections. The Forum, 16-4. 665, 686. Levine P., 2015. We Are the Ones We Have Been Waiting For. The Promise of Civic Renewal in America. Oxford University Press. Lopez, M.H., Rainey L. and Budeman, A., 2019, May 30. Financial and health impacts of COVID-19 vary widely by race and ethnicity. Pew Research Center. Pew Research, Lukianoff, G. and Haidt, J. 2018. The Coddling of the American Mind. How Good Intentions and Bad Ideas Are Setting Up a Generation for Failure. Penguin Press. Mason, L. 2018. Uncivil Agreement. How Politics Became Our Identity. University of Chicago Press. Mather, M. 2016. Aging in the United States. Population Bulletin 72. PRB, Murrow, M. Maxime, R. and Whiten, J. 2017. Automation and Artificial Intelligence. How Machines Are Affecting People and Places. Metropolitan Policy Program at Brookings. O'Neill, C. 2017. Weapons of Math Destruction. How Big Data Increases Inequality and Threatens Democracy. Broadway Books. Page B. I. Gillens, M. and C. Wright, J. 2018. Testing Theories of Democratic Policymaking. In L. M. Bartels and C. H. Aiken, eds. Democracy for Realists. Why Elections Do Not Produce Responsive Government, pp. 118-140. Princeton University Press, Papanikolaou, Nwaski, L.R., and Jacha A.K. 2018. Healthcare Spending in the United States and Other High-Income Countries. JAMA 31910, 1024, 1039. Pew Research Center, 2017, October 5. The partisan divide on political values grows even wider. Pew Research Center, 2018, April 26. The Public, the Political System, and American Democracy. Pew Research Center, 2019, April 11th. Public Trust in Government, 1958, 2019. Pure Search, Piketty T., 2014. Capital in the 21st Century, Harvard University Press, Putnam R.D., 2018. The Upswing, How America Came Together a Century Ago and How We Can Do It Again. Simon & Schuster, Reamer A., 2015. Counting for Dollars, The Role of the Decennial Census in the Geographic Distribution of Federal Funds. Brookings Institution, Brookings Reich R.B., 2017. Saving Capitalism, for the Many, Not the Few. Vintage Books, Reinhardt U.E., 2019. Priced Out, The Economic and Ethical Costs of American Healthcare. Princeton University Press, Saez E. and Zuckman G., 2016. Wealth Inequality in the United States since 1913. Evidence from Capitalized Income Tax Data. The Quarterly Journal of Economics, 131-2, 519, 578. Sanbonmatsu K., 2016, Representation in American Politics, Gender, Race, and the Recruitment of Women Candidates, Daedalus, 145-3, 128-141. Schlossman, K. L. Verba S. and Brady H. E., 2012. The Unheavenly Chorus, Unequal Political Voice and the Broken Promise of American Democracy. Princeton University Press, Schneider, M.C., 2019. The Feminization of the American Electorate, Gender Differences in Political Participation. In 100 Years of the 19th Amendment, An Appraisal of Women's Political Activism, Peti 143-158, Oxford University Press, Shea D.M. and Fiorina M.P., 2016. Can we talk? The Rise of Rude, Nasty, Stubborn Politics. Pearson Higher Ed, Sides J. Tesler M. and Vavrek L., 2018. Identity Crisis, the 2016 Presidential Campaign, and the Battle for the Meaning of America. Princeton University Press, Solt F., 2020. Measuring Income Inequality Across Countries and Over Time, the Standardized World Income Inequality Database. Social Science Quarterly, 1013, 1183-1199, Stiglitz J.E., 2015. The Great Divide, Unequal Societies and What We Can Do About Them. W. W. Norton and Company, Sunstein C.R., 2017. Republic, Divided Democracy in the Age of Social Media, Princeton University Press, Tate K., 2019. Black Faces in the Mirror, African Americans and Their Representatives in the U.S. Congress, Princeton University Press, Theriault S.M., 2013. The Gingrich Senators, The Roots of Partisan Warfare in Congress, Oxford University Press, U.S. Census Bureau, 2021, U.S. Population Clock, Census Vagel S.J., 2017. The Census Bureau needs to account for undercount in 2020. Brookings Institution, Brookings Vespa J. Armstrong, D.M. and Medina L., 2018. Demographic Turning Points for the United States, Population Projections for 2020 to 2060, U.S. Census Bureau, Census Wallach W. and Allen C., 2018. Moral Machines, Teaching Robots Right from Wrong, Oxford University Press. Webb A., 2019. The Big Nine, How the Tech Titans and Their Thinking Machines Could Warp Humanity, Public Affairs. Webb M., 2019. The Impact of Artificial Intelligence on the Labor Market, Stanford University Department of Economics, Stanford Wegman J., 2020. Let the People Pick the President, The Case for Abolishing the Electoral College, St. Martin's Press, West D.M. and Allen J.R., 2018. How Artificial Intelligence is Transforming the World, Brookings Institution, Brookings Zuboff S., 2019. The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, The Fight for a Human Future at the New Frontier of Power, Public Affairs, Glossary Artificial Intelligence, AI. The development of computer systems that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and language translation. Demographic shift, significant changes in the characteristics of a population such as age, race, ethnicity, income, and educational attainment. Echo chamber, an environment in which individuals are exposed only to information and opinions that conform to and reinforce their own beliefs, often leading to political polarization. Economic inequality, the uneven distribution of income and wealth among individuals in an economy. Electoral college, the system used in U.S. presidential elections in which voters in each state cast ballots to choose electors who then vote for the president and vice president. Globalization, the increasing interconnectedness of economies, societies, and cultures worldwide, driven by cross-border trade investment and technological advancements. Labor force participation rate, the percentage of the civilian non-institutionalized population aged 16 and older that is either working or actively seeking work. Majority-minority state, a U.S. state in which one or more racial or ethnic minorities make up a majority of the population. Polarization, the division of a population or political group into opposing factions with contrasting and often extreme positions on political issues. Political disengagement, a lack of interest, involvement, or participation in political activities and processes. Population shift. The movement of people from one geographic area to another, often driven by economic, social, or environmental factors. Skill gap. The difference between the skills and knowledge that employers need and the skills and knowledge that job seekers possess. Social media. Websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or participate in social networking. Swing state. A U.S. state where the two major political parties have similar levels of support among voters, making it more likely to switch between parties in presidential elections. Wealth gap. The uneven distribution of assets among individuals or households in an economy, often measured by comparing the wealth of the top percentiles to the bottom percentiles. Chapter 3. Exploring the foundations of social and natural sciences. Introduction. The study of sciences, whether natural or social, forms the backbone of our understanding of both the physical world and human behavior. This chapter explores the fundamental principles that guide the natural sciences and contrasts them with the methodologies and challenges inherent in the social sciences, particularly focusing on political science. By delving into these fields, students can appreciate the diverse approaches and insights that each discipline offers. 1. The realm of natural sciences. Natural sciences are primarily concerned with understanding the physical and natural world. Disciplines such as physics, chemistry, biology, astronomy, and geology use empirical evidence and the scientific method to uncover the laws that govern the universe. Okasha, 2016. This method involves observation, pattern recognition, hypothesis formulation, and rigorous testing, which can lead to the establishment of scientific laws and theories. The goal of natural sciences is to explain, predict, and control natural phenomena, Guerra, 1999. By understanding the fundamental principles that govern the universe, scientists can develop models and theories that accurately describe the behavior of physical systems. These models and theories are continuously refined and updated as new evidence emerges, leading to an ever-expanding body of knowledge. Example of scientific law. Newton's laws of motion provide a clear example of scientific principles that describe the behavior of physical bodies in motion. These laws not only explain, but also predict the movement of objects under various forces, Halliday and others, 2013. For instance, Newton's second law states that the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the net force acting on it and inversely proportional to its mass. This law allows scientists to calculate the motion of objects ranging from planets to subatomic particles. 2. The scientific method. The scientific method is central to the natural sciences. It combines inductive reasoning, from specific observations to general conclusions, and experimental methods where hypotheses are tested through controlled experiments. Carey, 2011. This method is powerful because it allows for precise, testable predictions and has a self-correcting nature, leading to increasingly accurate understanding over time. The scientific method typically involves the following steps. Gouch, 2012. Observation. Scientists observe a phenomenon and collect data. Hypothesis. Based on the observations, scientists formulate a testable hypothesis that explains the phenomenon. Experiment. Scientists design and conduct experiments to test the hypothesis. Analysis. The experimental results are analyzed to determine whether they support or refute the hypothesis. Conclusion. Scientists draw conclusions based on the experimental results and revise the hypothesis if necessary. This iterative process allows scientists to continuously refine their understanding of natural phenomena and develop increasingly accurate models and theories. Example of scientific theory. The theory of general relativity proposed by Einstein revolutionized our understanding of gravity, providing a comprehensive description that enhanced and expanded upon Newton's earlier theories, Misner and others, 1973. Einstein's theory postulated that gravity is not a force but rather a curvature of space-time caused by the presence of mass and energy. This theory has been extensively tested and has made accurate predictions about phenomena such as the bending of light by massive objects and the existence of black holes. 3. Precision in natural sciences. One of the hallmarks of the natural sciences is the ability to express concepts both concisely and precisely, often through mathematical formulations. This precision allows scientists to describe complex phenomena in a universally understandable language and to make accurate predictions about future events. Klein, 1985. Mathematical models and equations are essential tools in the natural sciences. They provide a way to quantify relationships between variables and make precise predictions about the behavior of physical systems. Giordano and Weir, 1985. For example, the Schrödinger equation in quantum mechanics describes the behavior of subatomic particles, while the Navier-Stokes equations in fluid dynamics describe the motion of liquids and gases. The use of precise measurements and well-defined units is also crucial in the natural sciences. The International System of Units, SI, provides a standardized set of units for measuring physical quantities such as length, mass, time, and temperature. Thomson and Taylor, 2008. This standardization ensures that scientific results can be easily reproduced and compared across different experiments and laboratories. 4. Political science. A social science perspective. Political science, like other social sciences, focuses on the study of human behavior and society. It specifically examines power dynamics, governance structures, and the relationships between individuals and institutions. Gooden, 2009. Political science differs from natural sciences in its methods and the nature of its subject matter, which is less amenable to experimental manipulation and precise prediction. While natural sciences deal with inanimate objects and forces that obey fixed laws, social sciences, including political science, deal with human beings who have agency, emotions, and complex motivations. Rosenberg, 2012. This complexity makes it more challenging to establish universal laws and theories in the social sciences. Political scientists use a variety of methods to study political phenomena, including case studies, surveys, interviews, and statistical analysis. Kelstedt and Witten, 2018. These methods allow researchers to gather data about political attitudes, behaviors, and institutions, and to identify patterns and trends. 5. Methodological challenges in political science. The inherent complexity of human behavior and the vast number of variables involved make political science a soft science. It relies heavily on observation comparative methods and statistical analysis to identify patterns and correlations in political behavior. Brady and Collier, 2010. However, the inability to conduct controlled experiments, as is common in natural sciences, means that causation is often harder to establish definitively. One of the main challenges in political science is the difficulty of isolating variables and establishing clear cause and effect relationships. Johnson and Reynolds, 2012. In natural sciences, researchers can often control for extraneous variables and manipulate a single factor to observe its effect. In political science, however, many variables are interrelated and cannot be easily separated. For example, when studying the impact of campaign finance on election outcomes, it is challenging to isolate the effect of money from other factors such as candidate charisma, media coverage, and voter preferences. Another challenge in political science is the role of values and normative judgments. Gehring, 2012. While natural sciences strive for objectivity and value, neutrality political science often involves the study of inherently value-laden concepts such as justice, equality, and democracy. Researchers must be aware of their own biases and strive to maintain a balanced and impartial perspective. 6. Political science's unique concepts. While political science borrows many concepts from other disciplines, its central concern is with the concept of power. This focus distinguishes it from other social sciences, which may center on different aspects of human behavior and societal organization. Hay, 2002. Power can be defined as the ability to influence others and shape outcomes. Dahl, 1957. In political science, power is studied at various levels, from individual relationships to national and international politics. Researchers examine how power is acquired, maintained, and exercised, as well as its effects on individuals, groups, and societies. Dowding, 2011. Other key concepts in political science include authority, the legitimate use of power often based on formal positions or social norms. Weber, 1947. Legitimacy, the belief that a government or political system is valid and deserving of support. Lipset, 1959. Sovereignty, the supreme authority within a given territory, often associated with nation-states. Krasner, 1999. Governance, the process of making and implementing collective decisions. Pierre and Peters, 2000. These concepts provide a framework for analyzing political phenomena and understanding the complex dynamics of power in society. 7. Limitations of social sciences. The social sciences, including political science, face limitations in their ability to predict outcomes due to the complexity and variability of human behavior. While they can offer explanations and identify trends, the predictive capability of these sciences is less definitive than that of the natural sciences. Fleivbjerg, 2001. This limitation reflects the challenges of dealing with diverse human experiences and the multitude of factors that can influence societal developments. One of the main limitations of social sciences is the difficulty of generalizing findings across different contexts and populations. Mioset, 2009. While natural sciences can often establish universal laws that apply across time and space, social sciences must contend with the fact that human behavior is heavily influenced by cultural, historical, and individual factors. What may be true in one society or time period may not hold in another. Another limitation is the potential for bias and subjectivity in social science research. Hammersley and Gom, 1997. Because social scientists are themselves part of the societies they study, they may bring their own values, experiences, and assumptions to their work. Researchers must be vigilant in recognizing and mitigating these biases to ensure the validity and reliability of their findings. 8. Subfields in political science. Political science encompasses various subfields, each focusing on different aspects of political life. These include American politics, comparative politics, international relations, political theory, and public policy, among others. Each area contributes to a comprehensive understanding of how political systems operate and interact on both national and international stages. American politics. This subfield examines the political institutions, processes, and behaviors within the United States, including the presidency, Congress, the judiciary, and political parties. Colonial and others, 2019. Comparative politics. This subfield studies political systems across different countries and regions, analyzing similarities and differences in institutions, cultures, and outcomes. Leipart, 2012. International relations. This subfield focuses on the interactions between nation-states and other global actors, including issues of war and peace diplomacy and international organizations. Bayliss and others, 2020. Political theory. This subfield explores the philosophical foundations of politics, including the nature of power, justice, and democracy. Kimlicka, 2002. Public policy. This subfield examines how governments make and implement policies to address societal problems such as healthcare, education, and environmental protection. Kraft and Furlong, 2021. Each of these subfields contributes unique insights and perspectives to the study of politics, and many political scientists work across multiple subfields to gain a more comprehensive understanding of political phenomena. Conclusion. The exploration of natural and social sciences reveals a landscape rich in methodology, focus, and application. While the natural sciences seek to explain the physical world with great precision, social sciences strive to understand complex human behaviors and societal structures. Political science, with its focus on power, offers vital insights into how individuals and groups shape and are shaped by the political systems they inhabit. Understanding the strengths and limitations of each scientific domain allows students to appreciate the depth and breadth of human knowledge and its application to solving real-world problems. By recognizing the complementary nature of natural and social sciences, we can develop a more holistic understanding of the world and work towards addressing the complex challenges facing society. As students explore the foundations of social and natural sciences, they should be encouraged to think critically, question assumptions, and seek interdisciplinary connections. By doing so, they can contribute to the ongoing quest for knowledge and help build a more informed and engaged citizenry. References: Bayliss, J. Smith, S. and Owens, p. 2020. The Globalization of World Politics. An Introduction to International Relations, 8th ed. Dwaker. Oxford University Press. Brady H. E. and Collier D., eds. 2010. Rethinking Social Inquiry, Diverse Tools, Shared Standards, 2nd ed. Quao. Roman and Littlefield Publishers, Carey S.S., 2011. A Beginner's Guide to Scientific Method, 4th ed. Wadsworth, Dahl, R.A., 1957. The Concept of Power. Behavioral Science, 283, 201, 215, Dowding K., 2011, Encyclopedia of Power, Sage Publications, Flybeer B., 2001, Making Social Science Matter, Why Social Inquiry Fails and How It Can Succeed Again, Cambridge University Press, Gouch H.G., 2012, Scientific Method in Brief, Cambridge University Press, Guerra R.N., 1999, Science Without Laws, University of Chicago Press, Gehring J., 2012. Social Science Methodology, A Unified Framework, 2nd ed., Cambridge University Press, Giordano F.R. and Weir M.D., 1985, A First Course in Mathematical Modeling, Brooks Cole Publishing Company, Gooden R.E., ed., 2009, The Oxford Handbook of Political Science, Oxford University Press, Halliday D. Resnick R. and Walker, J. 2013, Fundamentals of Physics, 10th ed., Wiley, Hammersley, M. and Gom R., 1997. Bias in Social Research, Sociological Research Online, 2-1, 1-13, Hayes C., 2002. Political Analysis, A Critical Introduction, Palgrave. Johnson, J. B. and Reynolds, H. T., 2012. Political Science Research Methods, 7th ed. CQ Press, Kelstead, P. M. and Witten, G. D., 2018. The Fundamentals of Political Science Research, 3rd ed. Cambridge University Press, Cornell S. Jacobson, G. C. Kusser T. and Vavrek L., 2019. The Logic of American Politics, 9th ed. CQ Press, Klein M., 1985. Mathematics for the Non-Mathematician, Dover Publications, Kraft M.E. and Furlong S.R., 2021. Public Policy, Politics Analysis and Alternatives, 7th ed. CQ Press. Krasner S.D., 1999. Sovereignty, Organized Hypocrisy, Princeton University Press, Kimlicka W., 2002. Contemporary Political Philosophy, An Introduction, 2nd ed., Oxford University Press, Leifhart A., 2012. Patterns of Democracy, Government Forms and Performance in 36 Countries, 2nd ed. Dars. Yale University Press, Lipset S.M., 1959. Some Social Requisites of Democracy, Economic Development and Political Legitimacy, American Political Science Review, 53-1, 69-1/5. Meissner, C.W. Thorne, K.S. and Wheeler, J.A., 1973. Gravitation, W.H. Freeman, Muset, L., 2009. The Contextualist Approach to Social Science Methodology, in D. Byrne and C.C. Reagan, eds. The Sage Handbook of Case-Based Methods, pp. 39-68. Sage Publications, Okasha S., 2016. Philosophy of Science, very short introduction, 2nd edi. Oxford University Press, Pierre J. and Peters, B.G., 2000. Governance, Politics, and the State, Macmillan Press, Rosenberg A., 2012. Philosophy of Social Science, 4th ed. Westview Press, Thompson, A. and Taylor, B.N., 2008. Guide for the Use of the International System of Units, S.I. Cell. National Institute of Standards and Technology, Weber M., 1947. The Theory of Social and Economic Organization, A. M. Henderson and T. Parsons Trans. The Free Press. Glossary 1. Authority. The legitimate use of power often based on formal positions or social norms. 2. Comparative Politics. A subfield of political science that studies political systems across different countries and regions, analyzing similarities and differences in institutions, cultures, and outcomes. 3. Empirical evidence. Information acquired through observation, experimentation, or measurement that supports or refutes a hypothesis or theory. 4. Governance. The process of making and implementing collective decisions. 5. Hypothesis. A tentative explanation for a phenomenon subject to further testing and experimentation. 6. Inductive reasoning. A logical process in which specific observations lead to general conclusions or theories. 7. International relations. A subfield of political science that focuses on the interactions between nation-states and other global actors, including issues of war and peace diplomacy and international organizations. 8. Legitimacy. The belief that a government or political system is valid and deserving of support. 9. Mathematical models, equations, or other mathematical representations that describe the behavior of a system or phenomenon. 10. Natural sciences. Academic disciplines that study the physical and natural world, such as physics, chemistry, biology, astronomy, and geology. 11. Political science. A social science discipline that examines power dynamics, governance structures, and the relationships between individuals and institutions. 12. Political theory. A subfield of political science that explores the philosophical foundations of politics, including the nature of power, justice, and democracy. 13. Power. The ability to influence others and shape outcomes. 14. Public policy. A subfield of political science that examines how governments make and implement policies to address societal problems, such as healthcare, education, and environmental protection. 15. Scientific law. A statement that describes a specific observable phenomenon in nature that is consistently reproducible under certain conditions. 16. Scientific method. A systematic process for gathering knowledge about the world involving observation, hypothesis, formulation, experimentation, and analysis. 17. Scientific theory. A well-substantiated explanation of some aspect of the natural world based on a body of facts that have been repeatedly confirmed through observation and experimentation. 18. Social sciences. Academic disciplines that study human behavior and societies, such as political science, economics, psychology, and sociology. 19. Soft science. A term often used to describe social sciences which deal with more complex and variable phenomena compared to natural sciences. 20. Sovereignty. The supreme authority within a given territory often associated with nation-states. Chapter 4. The Value of History in Political Science. Introduction. History and political science are two disciplines that are closely intertwined, each offering unique insights that enrich the other. The study of history is not merely about learning what happened in the past. It is about comprehending how the past shapes the present and influences the future. Gaddis, 2002. In the context of political science, understanding history is indispensable for analyzing and interpreting political phenomena, as well as for making informed decisions about current and future political challenges. Bayland and Cox, 2011. This chapter explores the vital role that history plays in political science, highlighting how historical knowledge can inform and guide contemporary political analysis and decision-making. The interdependence of history and political science. Political science and history are inherently interconnected as political events and processes are deeply rooted in historical contexts. Mahoney and Ruschemeyer, 2003. Historical knowledge provides the foundation upon which political scientists build their theories, test their hypotheses, and develop their understanding of political behavior and institutions. Tilley, 2006. By studying history, political scientists gain access to a vast repository of cases and examples that can illuminate current political dynamics and challenges. Pearson, 2004. Also, history serves as a laboratory for political science, offering a wide range of empirical data that can be used to identify patterns, test theories, and generate new insights. Mahoney and Thelen, 2015. Through the analysis of historical events and processes, political scientists can develop a more nuanced understanding of key political concepts such as power governance, conflict, and cooperation. Skocpol, 1984. This understanding, in turn, can inform the development of more effective political strategies and policies. Learning from the past. One of the primary reasons why history is so valuable to political science is that it allows us to learn from the past. By studying historical events and processes, we can gain a deeper understanding of how political systems function, how they change over time, and how they respond to various challenges and crises. Kapocha and Kellerman, 2007. This understanding can help us to identify potential pitfalls and opportunities in current political situations and to develop more effective strategies for addressing them. For example, the study of the rise and fall of empires throughout history can provide valuable insights into the dynamics of power, the challenges of governance, and the factors that contribute to political stability and instability. Doyle, 1986. Similarly, the analysis of past revolutions and social movements can shed light on the conditions that give rise to political change, as well as the strategies and tactics that are most effective in bringing about such change. Skocpol, 1979. Additionally, the study of history can help us to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. By examining historical examples of political failures and successes, we can identify the factors that contributed to those outcomes and use that knowledge to inform our current decision-making. March and Olson, 1989. This is particularly important in the realm of international relations where the stakes are often high and the consequences of poor decisions can be devastating. Jervis, 1976. Countering presentism and historical amnesia. Another important reason why history is essential to political science is that it helps to counter the dangers of presentism and historical amnesia. Presentism refers to the tendency to interpret the past through the lens of the present without fully considering the historical context in which events occurred. Fisher, 1970. This can lead to a distorted understanding of the past and can result in the misapplication of historical lessons to current political situations. Historical amnesia, on the other hand, refers to the tendency to forget or ignore the lessons of the past, often in the pursuit of short-term political goals. Bayland and Cox, 2011. This can lead to the repetition of past mistakes and can undermine the effectiveness of political decision-making. By engaging with history in a deep and meaningful way, political scientists can avoid these pitfalls and develop a more nuanced and contextual understanding of political phenomena. Mahoney and Ruschemeyer, 2003. This understanding can help to inform the development of more effective political strategies and policies, as well as to promote a more responsible and ethical approach to political decision-making. The inspirational power of historical knowledge. In addition to providing valuable lessons and insights, history can also serve as a source of inspiration for political scientists and political actors more broadly. The study of historical figures who have made significant contributions to the development of political thought and practice can provide models of leadership, courage, and vision that can inspire current and future generations. Burns, 1978. For example, the life and work of Mahatma Gandhi, who led India's non-violent independence movement against British colonial rule, can serve as an inspiration for those seeking to promote social and political change through peaceful means. Sharp, 1979. Similarly, the writings of political philosophers such as John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and John Stuart Mill can provide a foundation for the development of more just and equitable political systems. Wolin, 2004. Moreover, the study of history can help to cultivate a sense of perspective and humility among political scientists and political actors. By recognizing the complexity and contingency of historical events and processes, we can develop a more nuanced understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing contemporary political systems. Gaddis, 2002. This understanding can help to temper the hubris and overconfidence that can sometimes characterize political decision-making and can promote a more reflective and deliberative approach to political analysis and action. The pragmatic utility of historical knowledge. Finally, it is worth emphasizing the pragmatic utility of historical knowledge for political scientists and policymakers. By drawing on historical examples and analogies, political actors can develop more effective strategies for addressing current challenges and opportunities. May 1973. For example, the study of past economic crises can provide valuable insights into the factors that contribute to financial instability, as well as the policy responses that are most effective in mitigating the impact of such crises. Reinhardt and Rogoff, 2009. Similarly, the analysis of past military conflicts can shed light on the conditions that give rise to war, as well as the strategies and tactics that are most effective in achieving political objectives. Clausewitz, 1832-1984. Also, historical knowledge can help policymakers to anticipate and prepare for future challenges and opportunities. By identifying historical patterns and trends, political scientists can develop more accurate predictions about the future course of political events and processes. Tetlock and Gardner, 2015. This predictive power can be invaluable in helping policymakers to develop more proactive and effective strategies for addressing emerging challenges and opportunities. Conclusion. In conclusion, the study of history is an essential component of political science, providing a rich and diverse body of knowledge that can inform and enrich our understanding of political phenomena. By engaging with history in a deep and meaningful way, political scientists can develop a more nuanced and contextual understanding of political behavior and institutions, as well as a more reflective and deliberative approach to political analysis and action. And so that the study of history can serve as a source of inspiration and guidance for political actors, providing models of leadership and vision that can inform the development of more effective and ethical political strategies and policies. By drawing on historical examples and analogies, policymakers can develop more pragmatic and evidence-based approaches to addressing current and future challenges and opportunities. Ultimately, the value of history in political science lies in its ability to provide a deeper and more comprehensive understanding of the complex and dynamic nature of political systems. By engaging with history in a serious and sustained way, political scientists can contribute to the development of more effective and responsible approaches to political decision-making and can help to build a more just and equitable world for all. References: Bailon, D. and Cox, R. H. eds. 2011. Ideas and Politics in Social Science Research. Oxford University Press. Burns, J. M. 1978. Leadership. Harper and Row. Capocha, G. and Kellerman, R. D. 2007. The study of critical junctures, theory, narrative, and counterfactuals in historical institutionalism, World Politics 59 3, 341369, Clausewitz, Sivan, 1984. On War, M. Howard and P. Parrott Trans. Princeton University Press, original work published 1832, Doyle, M. W., 1986. Empires, Cornell University Press, Fisher, D. H., 1970. Historians' Fallacies, Toward a Logic of Historical Thought, Harper and Row, Gaddis, J. L., 2002. The Landscape of History, How Historians Map the Past. Oxford University Press, Jervis R., 1976. Perception and Misperception in International Politics. Princeton University Press. Mahoney J. and Ruschemeyer, D. eds. 2003. Comparative Historical Analysis in the Social Sciences. Cambridge University Press. Mahoney J. and Thelen K. eds. 2015. Advances in Comparative Historical Analysis. Cambridge University Press. March J. G. and Olson J. P. 1989. Rediscovering Institutions. The Organizational Basis of Politics. Free Press. May E. R. 1973. Lessons of the Past. The Use and Misuse of History in American Foreign Policy. Oxford University Press. Pearson P. 2004. Politics in Time. History, Institutions, and Social Analysis. Princeton University Press. Reinhardt C. M. and Rogoff K. S. 2009. This Time is Different. 8 Centuries of Financial Folly. Princeton University Press. Sharp G. 1979. Gandhi as a Political Strategist. With Essays on Ethics and Politics. P. Sargent Publishers. Skocpol T. 1979. States and Social Revolutions. A Comparative Analysis of France, Russia, and China. Cambridge University Press. Skocpol T. 1984. Vision and Method in Historical Sociology. Cambridge University Press. Tetlock P. E. and Gardner D. 2015. Superforecasting. The Art and Science of Prediction. Crown Publishers. Tilly C. 2006. Why and How History Matters. In R. E. Gooden and C. Tilly, eds. The Oxford Handbook of Contextual Political Analysis, PPO 417-437. Oxford University Press. Wolin S.S., 2004. Politics and Vision. Continuity and Innovation in Western Political Thought. Expanded ed. Princeton University Press. Glossary. 1. Comparative Historical Analysis. A research approach that uses systematic comparison and analysis of historical cases to develop and test theories about social and political phenomena. 2. Counterfactual. An alternative scenario or outcome that did not occur but could have happened under different circumstances, often used in historical analysis to explore causality and contingency. 3. Critical juncture. A pivotal moment or period in history when significant changes occur, setting the stage for future path-dependent developments. 4. Historical amnesia. The tendency to forget or ignore the lessons of the past, often in the pursuit of short-term political goals. 5. Historical institutionalism. A theoretical approach that emphasizes the role of institutions in shaping political behavior and outcomes, over time focusing on how institutions evolve and influence social and political change. 6. Historical sociology. A subfield of sociology that uses historical methods and data to analyze social structures, processes, and changes over time. 7. Historiography. The study of historical writing, including the methods, interpretations, and perspectives used by historians to analyze and represent the past. 8. History. The study of past events, societies, and human experiences based on the analysis of primary and secondary sources. 9. Interdisciplinarity. The integration of knowledge, methods, and perspectives from multiple academic disciplines to address complex problems or research questions. 10. Path dependence. The idea that historical events and choices can constrain or shape future possibilities as earlier decisions and actions create self-reinforcing patterns or limit the range of available options. 11. Political science. The systematic study of politics, government, and public policy, including the analysis of political behavior, institutions, processes, and outcomes. 12. Presentism, the anachronistic interpretation of the past through the lens of present-day ideas, values, or perspectives without fully considering the historical context in which events occurred. 13. Primary source, a first-hand account document or artifact from the time period being studied, such as letters, diaries, official records, or contemporary media. 14. Secondary source, a later analysis, interpretation, or synthesis of primary sources, such as scholarly books, articles, or reviews. 15. Social science, the study of human society and social relationships encompassing disciplines such as political science, sociology, economics, anthropology, and psychology. Chapter 5. The Dynamics of Colonial America. Introduction. The colonial period in America, spanning from the establishment of Jamestown in 1607 to the eve of the American Revolution in 1776, was a time of immense change and development that laid the groundwork for the birth of the United States. This era, often condensed in popular understanding, actually witnessed transformations as profound as those from the post-World War II years to the modern digital age, Taylor 2001. Studying this period is essential for grasping the complexities and contradictions that shaped early American life and continued to influence the nation's trajectory in subsequent centuries. This chapter explores the diverse social structures, economic practices, religious and cultural patterns, and political evolution of the 13 colonies. The expansive colonial timeline. The 169 years of the colonial period saw the establishment of settlements, the growth of colonial economies and trade networks, and major shifts in political thought and governance. Middleton, 2002. Rather than being a static era, it was a time of dynamic changes that gradually yet profoundly reshaped the colonies. Understanding the vast scope of this period is crucial for appreciating the magnitude of the developments that unfolded. Religion in colonial society. Religion played a central role in colonial life, with 9 of the 13 colonies having official state religions at some point, Bonomi 2003. This reflected the European tradition of state-sponsored churches. However, the religious landscape was diverse and often contentious. Even Maryland, founded as a refuge for Catholics, soon had a Protestant majority. Other colonies, like Pennsylvania, embraced religious plurality from the beginning. Frost, 1992. The pervasiveness of religion in colonial society shaped moral attitudes, social norms, and political thought. The scourge of slavery. A grim reality of the colonial period was the ubiquity of slavery. At some point, every colony participated in and profited from the global slave trade and the labor of enslaved Africans. Berlin, 2009. The cruel institution was most deeply entrenched in the plantation-based economies of the South. By the eve of the Revolution, 40% of Virginia's population was enslaved. Wood, 2003. The inhumanity and injustice of slavery left profound social, economic, and political legacies that continued to shape American society long after its abolition. Diverse colonial economies. The economies of the 13 colonies were as varied as their geographies and populations. In New England, commerce and industry dominated. Fishing, shipbuilding, timbering, rum distilling, and maritime trade were the engines of economic growth. McWilliams, 2005. The middle colonies were the breadbasket, producing huge quantities of grains on small and large farms alike. Manufacturing and commerce also thrived in the growing cities like New York and Philadelphia. Hughes, 1995. The Southern economy was built on slave-driven agriculture, producing cash crops like tobacco and rice for export. Oakes, 1998. The economic diversity of the colonies foreshadowed America's future as a mixed industrializing economy. Labor systems and social structures. Colonial labor forces were as diverse as the economies they powered. Family-based labor and artisan workshops were common in New England. Innes, 1988, while a mix of free indentured and slave labor was used in the diverse middle colonies. The plantations south had the highest reliance on slave labor. Kulikoff, 2000. Social hierarchies also varied between regions. The Middle and New England colonies featured more fluid social mobility, while the South had a more rigid aristocratic structure. Egnall, 1996. However, all colonies maintained clear racial and class divisions. The differences in colonial labor systems and social orders influenced regional attitudes and political developments. An emerging cultural identity. Over the colonial period, a distinctly American cultural identity began to emerge, blending European influences with indigenous elements. Murdoch, 2001. A lively print culture spread new ideas via books, pamphlets, and newspapers. Public education expanded with every New England town mandated to operate a school. Lockridge, 1974. Philosophy and the arts took on American flavors as exemplified by thinkers like Benjamin Franklin, who adapted Enlightenment ideas to the colonial context. Isaacson, 2003. This evolving cultural landscape both reflected and shaped the political transformations to come. The road to revolution. Politically, the colonies steadily moved from dependence on the British Crown towards greater autonomy and self-governance. Representative colonial assemblies leveraged control over local taxation to assert their authority. Green, 1963. Philosophies of political liberalism. Natural rights and social contracts gained popularity. Bailyn, 1992. However, this political evolution was uneven, with royal colonies more tightly controlled than those with elected charters. Labouré, 1979. Tensions with Britain escalated over issues like taxation, regulation of trade, and frontier policy, propelling the colonies towards revolution. The Declaration of Independence in 1776 marked the culmination of this process. Conclusion. The colonial period was a time of profound and lasting transformation that fundamentally shaped American society, culture, economy, and system of governance. The complex dynamics of this era, including the spread of Enlightenment ideals, the growth of slavery, the development of diverse regional economies, and the gradual movement towards political autonomy, set the trajectory for the development of the United States as an independent nation. By grasping the nuances and interplays of these historical forces in the colonial period, students can gain insight into the origins of the fundamental tensions, contradictions, and aspirations that continue to animate American life. Critically engaging with this formative era is thus essential for understanding the nation's past, present, and future. References: Bailyn B., 1992. The Ideological Origins of the American Revolution. Harvard University Press, Berlin Freie, 2009. Many Thousands Gone. The First 2 Centuries of Slavery in North America. Harvard University Press, Bonomi P.U., 2003. Under the Cope of Heaven, Religion, Society, and Politics in Colonial America. Oxford University Press, Egnall M., 1996. New World Economies, The Growth of the 13 Colonies and Early Canada. Oxford University Press. Frost J.W., 1992. A Perfect Freedom. Religious Liberty in Pennsylvania. Cambridge University Press. Green J.P., 1963. The Quest for Power. The Lower Houses of Assembly in the Southern Royal Colonies, 1689-1776. University of North Carolina Press. Hughes H., 1995. Crossing the Hudson. Historic Bridges and Tunnels of the River. Rutgers University Press. Innes S., 1988. Labor in a New Land, Economy and Society in 17th Century Springfield. Princeton University Press. Isaacson W., 2003. Benjamin Franklin, An American Life. Simon & Schuster. Kulikoff A., 2000. From British Peasants to Colonial American Farmers. University of North Carolina Press. Labouré B.W., 1979. Colonial Massachusetts. A History. K.T.O. Press. Lockridge K.A., 1974. Literacy in Colonial New England. an inquiry into the social context of literacy in the early modern West. Norton, McWilliams, J.E., 2005. A Revolution in Eating, How the Quest for Food Shaped America, Columbia University Press. Middleton R., 2002. Colonial America, A History, 1585 and 1776, Wiley Blackwell, Murdoch D.H., 2001. The American West, The Invention of a Myth, University of Nevada Press, Oakes J., 1998. The Ruling Race, A History of American Slaveholders, W. W. Norton and Company, Taylor A., 2001. American Colonies, The Settling of North America, Penguin, Wood B., 2003. Slavery in Colonial America, 1619 to 1776, Roman and Littlefield. Glossary Cash Crops, Agricultural crops grown for sale and export rather than for subsistence. Key examples in colonial America included tobacco, rice, and indigo. Enlightenment, an 18th-century intellectual and cultural movement that emphasized reason, individualism, and skepticism of traditional authority. It had a significant influence on the political thought of the American Revolution. Indentured servants, laborers typically from Europe who agreed to work for a set period, usually 4 to 7 years, in exchange for passage to the colonies. They formed a significant part of the colonial labor force, especially in the early period. Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in North America, established in Virginia in 1607. It struggled in its early years but became profitable with the cultivation of tobacco. Plantation, a large agricultural estate, especially in the American South, that specialized in cash crop production, utilizing slave labor. Plantations formed the backbone of the Southern colonial economy. Puritans, English Protestants who sought to purify the Church of England. They established several colonies in New England, most notably Massachusetts Bay, to create societies based on their religious principles. Triangle trade, the transatlantic trade route that exchanged manufactured goods, slaves, and raw materials between Europe, Africa, and the colonies. It was a key component of the colonial economy. Chapter 6. The American Revolution, Catalysts and Causes. The American Revolution was a transformative event that reshaped the political, social, and economic landscape of the 13 colonies and gave birth to the United States of America. This chapter explores the key factors and events that propelled the colonies toward revolution and independence from Great Britain. By examining demographic shifts, political grievances, economic policies, and Enlightenment ideals, we can better understand the complex interplay of forces that led to this pivotal moment in American history. Colonial population growth and emerging identity. In the decades leading up to the American Revolution, the population of the British colonies in North America experienced significant growth. The colonial population, which included European settlers, Native Americans, and enslaved Africans, increased from approximately $250,000 in 1700 to over 2 million by 1770, Allison 2011. This rapid growth was fueled by high birth rates, increasing life expectancy, and immigration from Europe. As the colonial population expanded, a distinct American identity began to emerge. Native-born colonists, who had never set foot in Britain, felt an increasing sense of attachment to their North American homeland, Middlecoff 2005. This budding American identity was shaped by the colony's geographic distance from Britain, their increasing economic self-sufficiency, and their exposure to political ideals of liberty and self-governance, Green 2000. The Great Awakening, a religious revival movement that swept through the colonies in the 1732s and 1740s, further contributed to this emerging sense of shared identity. The movement emphasized spiritual equality and challenged traditional religious authorities' themes that would later echo in the political rhetoric of the American Revolution, Kidd 2007. As colonists began to see themselves as distinct from their British counterparts, they became increasingly resistant to perceived infringements on their rights and liberties. Taxation without representation. One of the primary catalysts for colonial discontent was the issue of taxation without representation. Following the 7 Years' War, 1756-1763, which left Britain with significant debt, Parliament sought to raise revenue by imposing new taxes on the colonies. Middlecoff, 2005. The Sugar Act of 1764 and the Stamp Act of 1765 were met with fierce opposition from colonists who argued that they should not be taxed without their consent or representation in Parliament. The slogan, "No taxation without representation," became a rallying cry for the colonial cause. Allison, 2011. Colonists argued that as British subjects, they were entitled to the same rights as those living in Britain, including the right to be represented in the governing body that levied taxes upon them. The British government, however, maintained that the colonies were virtually represented in Parliament, a concept that colonists rejected as inadequate and unjust. Green, 2000. The colonial response to these taxes included boycotts of British goods petitions to the king and public demonstrations. Raphael, 2001. The Stamp Act Congress held in New York City in October 1765 brought together representatives from 9 colonies to coordinate a unified response against the tax. Although the Stamp Act was eventually repealed in 1766, the underlying issues of taxation and representation remained unresolved, further straining relations between the colonies and the mother country. Economic grievances and British policies. In addition to disputes over taxation, economic policies implemented by the British government fueled colonial resentment. The Navigation Acts, a series of laws enacted in the 17th century, required that goods traded between the colonies and Britain be transported on British ships and pass through British ports. Sawers, 1992. These acts were designed to maintain Britain's economic dominance and ensure that the colonies remained dependent on the mother country for manufactured goods. The Proclamation of 1763, which prohibited colonial settlement west of the Appalachian Mountains, was another source of economic frustration. Holton, 1999. Many colonists saw the Western territories as opportunities for land acquisition and economic growth. The proclamation, however, prioritized maintaining peace with Native American tribes and protecting the interests of the British fur trade. Colonists viewed this restriction as an infringement on their economic freedom and a hindrance to their prosperity. The Tea Act of 1773 further exacerbated tensions. Although the act actually lowered the price of tea, colonists saw it as another attempt by the British government to assert control over the colonies without their consent. Carp, 2010. The act granted the British East India Company a monopoly on tea sales in the colonies, undercutting colonial merchants. The resulting protests, most famously, the Boston Tea Party, demonstrated the growing willingness of colonists to resist British economic control. Infringement on civil liberties. Colonial grievances extended beyond economic and political issues to concerns over civil liberties. The Quartering Act of 1765 required colonists to provide housing and supplies for British soldiers, a measure that was seen as an invasion of privacy and an imposition on colonial communities. Middlecoff, 2005. The use of writs of assistance, which allowed British officials to search colonial properties without specific warrants, further fueled resentment and fear of arbitrary power. The Boston Massacre of 1770, in which British soldiers fired upon a crowd of colonial protesters, killing 5, heightened tensions and solidified colonial opposition to the British military presence. York, 2010. The incident was widely publicized in the colonies, with Paul Revere's famous engraving depicting the event as a brutal and unprovoked attack on innocent civilians. In response to the Boston Tea Party, Parliament passed the Coercive Acts, also known as the Intolerable Acts, in 1774. These laws closed the port of Boston, restricted colonial self-governance, and expanded the Quartering Act. Allison, 2011. Colonists viewed these measures as a direct assault on their rights and liberties, further galvanizing support for the growing resistance movement. The influence of Enlightenment ideals. The intellectual climate of the Enlightenment played a significant role in shaping the ideological foundations of the American Revolution. Enlightenment thinkers such as John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Baron de Montesquieu emphasized individual liberty, natural rights, and the social contract between government and the governed, Morrison 2009. These ideals resonated with colonists who saw their rights as British subjects being violated by an increasingly authoritarian government. John Locke's two treatises of government, published in 1690, argued that government derived its authority from the consent of the governed, and that the people had the right to overthrow a government that failed to protect their natural rights. Locke, 1947. These ideas were echoed in the Declaration of Independence, which asserted the colonists' right to alter or abolish a government that became destructive of their rights. Enlightenment ideals also influenced the development of colonial political thought. Thinkers such as James Otis and Thomas Paine published pamphlets and essays that applied Enlightenment principles to the colonial context, Bailyn, 1992. Paine's Common Sense, published in 1776, presented a compelling case for independence and challenged the legitimacy of the British monarchy. These writings helped to crystallize colonial opposition to British rule and provided a philosophical justification for the revolutionary cause. Conclusion. The American Revolution was the culmination of a complex set of factors that included demographic changes, political grievances, economic policies, and Enlightenment ideals. As the colonial population grew and developed a distinct identity, tensions with the British government over taxation, representation, and civil liberties intensified. The intellectual currents of the Enlightenment provided a philosophical framework for colonial resistance and the pursuit of independence. Understanding the causes of the American Revolution is essential for appreciating the founding principles of the United States and the enduring legacy of this transformative event. The ideals that motivated the revolutionaries, liberty, self-governance, and the protection of individual rights, continued to shape American political discourse and identity. By examining the catalysts and causes of the revolution, we gain insight into the values and aspirations that defined a new nation and continue to influence its development to this day. References: Allison R.J., 2011. The American Revolution, A Concise History. Oxford University Press. Bailyn B., 1992. The Ideological Origins of the American Revolution. Belknap Press. Carp B.L., 2010. Defiance of the Patriots, The Boston Tea Party and the Making of America. Yale University Press. Green J.P., 2000. The American Revolution. American Historical Review 1051, 93-102. Holton W., 1999. Forced Founders, Indians, Debtors, Slaves, and the Making of the American Revolution in Virginia. University of North Carolina Press. Kidd T.S., 2007. The Great Awakening, The Roots of Evangelical Christianity in Colonial America. Yale University Press. Locke J., 1947. Two Treatises of Government. Hafner Publishing Company. Original work published 1690. Middlecoff R., 2005. The Glorious Cause, The American Revolution, 1763-1789. Oxford University Press. Morrison J. E., 2009. The Political Philosophy of Thomas Paine. Johns Hopkins University Press. Raphael R., 2001. A People's History of the American Revolution. New Press. Sawers L., 1992. The Navigation Acts Revisited. Economic History Review, 45-2. 262284. York, N.L., 2010. The Boston Massacre, A History with Documents. Routledge. Glossary: American Identity. The distinct sense of cultural, social, and political characteristics that defined the colonists in British North America, distinguishing them from their British counterparts. Boston Massacre. A confrontation on March 5, 1770, in which British soldiers fired upon a crowd of colonial protesters, killing 5 and wounding 6 others. The incident heightened tensions between the colonies and the British government. Boston Tea Party, a political protest on December 16, 1773, in which a group of colonists disguised as Native Americans boarded British ships in Boston Harbor and dumped 342 chests of tea into the water. The protest was a response to the Tea Act and became an iconic event in the lead-up to the American Revolution. Coercive acts, intolerable acts. A series of laws passed by the British Parliament in 1774 in response to the Boston Tea Party. These acts closed the port of Boston, restricted colonial self-governance, and expanded the Quartering Act, further fueling colonial resentment against British rule. Enlightenment, an intellectual and philosophical movement that dominated the world of ideas in Europe during the 18th century. Enlightenment thinkers emphasized reason, individual liberty, and the social contract between government and the governed. Great Awakening, a religious revival movement that swept through the American colonies in the 1732s and 1742s. The movement emphasized spiritual equality and challenged traditional religious authorities, contributing to the development of a distinct American identity. Navigation Acts, a series of laws enacted by the British Parliament in the 17th century that regulated trade between Britain and its colonies. These acts required that goods traded between the colonies and Britain be transported on British ships and pass through British ports, ensuring Britain's economic dominance over the colonies. No taxation without representation, a political slogan that encapsulated the colonists' grievances against British taxation policies. Colonists argued that as British subjects, they were entitled to representation in the governing body that levied taxes upon them. Proclamation of 1763, a royal proclamation issued by King George I that prohibited colonial settlement west of the Appalachian Mountains. The proclamation aimed to maintain peace with Native American tribes and protect the interests of the British fur trade, but colonists saw it as an infringement on their economic freedom. Quartering Act, a series of laws passed by the British Parliament that required the American colonies to provide housing and supplies for British soldiers. Colonists viewed these acts as an invasion of privacy and an imposition on their communities. 7 Years' War, a global conflict, 1756-1763, that involved most of the great powers of Europe, with Britain and Prussia on one side and France, Austria, and Russia on the other. In North America, the war was known as the French and Indian War and resulted in significant territorial gains for Britain, but also left the country with substantial debt. Stamp Act, a tax imposed by the British Parliament on the American colonies in 1765. The act required printed materials in the colonies such as legal documents, newspapers, and playing cards to bear a revenue stamp. Colonists protested the tax, arguing that it violated their rights as British subjects to be taxed only by their own elected representatives. Sugar Act, a law passed by the British Parliament in 1764 that sought to raise revenue by imposing duties on sugar and other goods imported into the American colonies. The act was met with opposition from colonists who argued that it was an unconstitutional form of taxation without representation. Tea Act, a law passed by the British Parliament in 1773 that granted the British East India Company a monopoly on tea sales in the American colonies. Although the act actually lowered the price of tea, colonists saw it as another attempt by the British government to assert control over the colonies without their consent. Writs of assistance, legal documents that authorized British customs officials to search colonial properties for smuggled goods without specific warrants. Colonists viewed these writs as a violation of their rights and an example of the British government's arbitrary power over the colonies. Chapter 7. Why the Americans Won the Revolutionary War, 1775-1783. Introduction. The American Revolutionary War, spanning from 1775 to 1783, was a pivotal conflict that pitted the American colonies against the mighty British Empire. The odds seemed heavily in Britain's favor at the war's outset. The British had the world's most formidable military and enjoyed the support of various Native American tribes. Yet astonishingly, the American colonies emerged victorious. This chapter delves into the multifaceted reasons behind this unexpected outcome, illustrating a classic case of the paradox of unrealized power in military conflicts. Mayo's 1989. Colonial divisions at the start of the war. When the war began, the American colonies were far from a united front. Prominent founding father John Adams estimated that the colonial population was split into thirds: those supporting independence, those opposing it, and those who were undecided or indifferent. McCullough, 2001. This division reflected the diverse political landscape of the colonies, which included loyalists faithful to the British Crown patriots advocating for independence, and a significant number of people who were ambivalent about the prospect of breaking away from British rule. However, several key factors, including British tactical missteps and strategic disadvantages, gradually shifted the balance in favor of the independence movement. British blunders and loss of loyalist support. One of the most significant British errors was the decision to hire German mercenaries, collectively known as Hessians, to fight against the colonists. Atwood, 1980. This move severely undermined the credibility of Britain's claim that it governed the colonies benevolently and pushed many undecided colonists into the Patriot camp. Additionally, the British military's heavy-handed attempt to make a show of force in New England backfired spectacularly, transforming what could have been a localized skirmish at Lexington and Concord into a full-scale war. Fisher, 1994. These early blunders by the British played a critical role in galvanizing American resistance and eroding loyalist support within the colonies. Guerrilla warfare and the home field advantage. Fighting on their home turf provided the American forces with significant geographical and psychological advantages. Colonial soldiers were not only defending their own land and homes, but also possessed intimate knowledge of the terrain, which proved invaluable in employing guerrilla warfare tactics. Furling, 2007. American military leaders like George Washington, Daniel Morgan, and Nathaniel Greene skillfully utilized tactics such as ambushes and hit-and-run attacks, which confounded and gradually wore down the British forces, who were more accustomed to conventional European-style warfare. Higginbotham, 1983. The ability to harass British supply lines, strike quickly, and then disappear into the wilderness allowed the Americans to keep the British off balance and negate some of their advantages in numbers and training. The crucial role of international support. The intervention of foreign powers, particularly France, played a vital role in the American victory. Motivated by its own geopolitical rivalry with Britain, France provided the American forces with essential military aid supplies and naval support. Dull, 1985. The French Navy's involvement was especially crucial in the Siege of Yorktown, which effectively sealed the American victory. Ketchum, 2004. Other European powers, such as Spain and the Dutch Republic, also supported the American cause, further complicating Britain's strategic position. Bemis, 1957. This international support helped offset Britain's advantage in resources and military experience, giving the Americans a fighting chance. Leadership and resilience. George Washington's pivotal role. Leadership was another critical factor in the American victory, with George Washington's role being particularly celebrated. Although not considered a tactical genius, Washington's resilience, adaptability, and ability to learn from his mistakes proved indispensable. Chernow, 2010. His decision to retreat from Brooklyn Heights and subsequent strategic choices were crucial in keeping the Continental Army intact and in the fight, even in the face of numerous setbacks. Ellis, 2004. Washington's ability to maintain the cohesion and morale of his often outnumbered and undersupplied army was a testament to his leadership skills. His generalship, characterized by strategic patience and a willingness to seize opportunities when they arose, played a significant role in the eventual American triumph. War fatigue and economic strain in Britain. As the war dragged on, Britain faced mounting economic strain and war fatigue. The conflict was expensive, both in terms of treasure and blood, and British public support gradually waned as the costs mounted. Conway, 2002. This diminishing homefront support ultimately influenced the British government's decision to negotiate peace, leading to the Treaty of Paris in 1783, which recognized American independence. Middlecoff, 2005. Ironically, the war, which was partly fueled by British desires to have the colonies help pay for previous conflicts, ended up exacerbating Britain's financial troubles. The paradox of unrealized power. The American Revolutionary War stands as a prime example of the paradox of unrealized power, where a nation with superior military and economic might fails to translate that advantage into desired political outcomes. Mack, 1975. This phenomenon has been observed in numerous subsequent conflicts, such as the Soviet-Finnish War, 1939-1940, the Vietnam War, 1955-1975, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, 1979-1989, and the Iraq War, 2003-2011. In each of these cases, the ostensibly stronger power struggled to achieve its objectives due to a combination of factors, including effective guerrilla warfare by the weaker opponent, strong local resistance, complex international dynamics, and mounting domestic pressures. Arreguin-Toft, 2001. Conclusion. This chapter has explored the multifaceted reasons behind the Americans' surprising victory in the Revolutionary War. A combination of factors including British strategic missteps, effective American guerrilla tactics, timely foreign assistance, resilient American leadership, and growing economic pressures in Britain led to this historic upset. The Revolutionary War not only fundamentally altered the course of American history, but also provided enduring lessons about the complexities and uncertainties inherent in warfare. The conflict serves as a powerful reminder that superior military and economic power alone does not guarantee victory, and that the will and determination of a people fighting for their homes and ideals should never be underestimated. References: Arreguin-Toft, 2001. How the Weak Win Wars. A Theory of Asymmetric Conflict. International Security, 26-1, 93-128. Atwood R., 1980. The Hessians, Mercenaries from Hessen Castle in the American Revolution. Cambridge University Press. Bemis, S.F., 1957. The Diplomacy of the American Revolution. Indiana University Press. Chernow R., 2010. Washington, A Life. Penguin Press. Conway S., 2002. The British Isles and the War of American Independence. Oxford University Press. Dull J. R., 1985. A Diplomatic History of the American Revolution. Yale University Press. Ellis J. J., 2004. His Excellency, George Washington, Alfred Knopf, Furling J., 2007. Almost a Miracle. The American Victory in the War of Independence. Oxford University Press. Fisher D. H., 1994. Paul Revere's Ride. Oxford University Press. Higginbotham D., 1983. The War of American Independence. Military Attitudes, Policies, and Practice, 1763-1789. Northeastern University Press. Ketchum R.M., 2004. Victory at Yorktown, the Campaign That Won the Revolution. Henry Holt, Mac A., 1975. Why Big Nations Lose Small Wars. The Politics of Asymmetric Conflict. World Politics, 27-175-200. Mayo Z., 1989. Power Capabilities and Paradoxical Conflict Outcomes. World Politics, 41-239-266. McCullough D., 2001. John Adams, Simon & Schuster. Middlecoff R., 2005. The Glorious Cause, The American Revolution, 1763-1789. Oxford University Press. Glossary Asymmetric Conflict. a conflict in which the power capabilities of the belligerents differ significantly. Continental Army, the army raised by the Second Continental Congress to fight in the American Revolutionary War. Guerrilla warfare, a form of irregular warfare in which small groups of combatants use mobile tactics such as ambushes, sabotage, and hit-and-run attacks against a larger, more traditional military. Hessians, German soldiers primarily from the German state of Hesse-Kassel, hired by the British to fight in the American Revolutionary War. Loyalists, American colonists who remained loyal to the British Crown during the American Revolution. Patriots, American colonists who supported the cause of independence from Great Britain during the American Revolution. Siege of Yorktown, the final major battle of the American Revolutionary War in which American and French forces surrounded and besieged the British Army at Yorktown, Virginia, leading to the British surrender and effectively ending the war. Chapter 8. Understanding the Declaration of Independence. Introduction. The Declaration of Independence. A pivotal document in American history is more than just a historical artifact. It is a profound statement of philosophical ideals and a bold assertion of a people's right to self-governance. Primarily authored by Thomas Jefferson, with contributions from 4 other committee members, the Declaration encapsulates a crucial moment in American history and its reverberations across subsequent global movements. Jefferson and others, 1776. This chapter will delve into the philosophical underpinnings of the Declaration, analyze its content, and explore its enduring influence on movements for equality and self-determination around the world. The philosophical underpinnings. The Declaration of Independence was greatly influenced by the philosophical ideas of John Locke, particularly from his work, The Second Treatise of Government. Locke, 1689. Locke's doctrine centered around the concept of natural rights, rights inherent to all humans such as life, liberty, and property, which he collectively referred to as estate. These rights, according to Locke, are fundamental and pre-exist any governmental structure. In his view, society forms a contract where individuals collectively agree to establish a government that will protect these natural rights. Locke's impact on Jefferson is evident in the language and reasoning of the Declaration, which argues that a government's legitimacy stems from its ability to safeguard these rights. Jefferson and others, 1776. If a government fails in this duty, the people have not just the right, but the obligation to alter or abolish it. This idea of a social contract between the governed and the government is a central theme in the Declaration and reflects the Enlightenment ideals of the time. Zuckert, 1996. The content of the Declaration. The Declaration of Independence can be divided into 2 main parts: a preamble that outlines philosophical principles and a list of grievances against King George III of England, illustrating the failures of his governance from the colonial perspective. Jefferson and others, 1776. First paragraph, a philosophical foundation. The opening paragraph of the Declaration sets a universal stage asserting that when people find it necessary to break political bonds and assume an independent status, they must explain their reasons. Jefferson and others, 1776. This reflects Jefferson's deist beliefs that history is shaped by human actions, not divine decree, and aligns with the Enlightenment ideals of his contemporaries like Isaac Newton and Benjamin Franklin. Vollenfeld, 2010. By framing the Declaration in this way, Jefferson emphasizes the importance of reason and the power of human agency in shaping the course of history. Second paragraph, a declaration of rights and principles. The second paragraph is among the most recognized in American political discourse. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Jefferson and others, 1776. Here, Jefferson expands on Locke's ideas, positioning them within a vision that all men, a term reflecting the period's gendered language but intended to mean all humanity, possess rights that cannot be taken away or given up. These are unalienable rights. This bold assertion serves as a foundation for the right of the people to establish a government that derives its power from the consent of the governed. Zuckert, 1996. The influence of the Declaration. Since its adoption in 1776, the Declaration of Independence has served as a beacon for numerous movements across the globe. It has been a rallying point in struggles for equality and self-determination, inspiring leaders and revolutionaries from a wide array of backgrounds. Armitage, 2007. The feminist movement, for example, has drawn inspiration from the Declaration's emphasis on equality and unalienable rights. In 1848, at the Seneca Falls Convention, Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott drafted the Declaration of Sentiments, which closely mirrored the language and structure of the Declaration of Independence, Stanton and others, 1848. By asserting that all men and women are created equal, they adapted the principles of the Declaration to challenge the patriarchal norms of their time and demand equal rights for women. Similarly, various anti-colonial movements throughout history have found resonance in the Declaration's call for self-determination and its rejection of tyrannical rule. From the Haitian Revolution in the late 18th century to the African independence movements of the mid-20th century, the Declaration has served as a powerful symbol of resistance against oppression and a call for freedom. Armitage, 2007. The enduring appeal of the Declaration lies in its articulation of universal principles that transcend American borders. It underscores that government exists to serve the people, and when it becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to seek change. Jefferson and others, 1776. This idea has inspired countless movements around the world, from the French Revolution to the Arab Spring, as people have sought to assert their rights and challenge oppressive regimes. Armitage, 2007. Conclusion. The Declaration of Independence is a testament to the enduring power of ideas. Its emphasis on natural rights and the social contract reflects a deep trust in human reason and the capacity for self-governance. Zuckert, 1996. As we reflect on its contents and context, it becomes evident that the Declaration is not just a statement from the past, but a living, breathing document that continues to influence the ideals of democracy and freedom around the world. The relevance of the Declaration endures, reminding us of the profound impact that well-articulated philosophical principles can have on the course of history. It serves as an inspiration for those who seek to challenge injustice and assert their rights, and its influence can be seen in the struggles for equality and self-determination that have shaped the modern world. Armitage, 2007. As we continue to grapple with the challenges of our time, from systemic inequality to the ongoing fight for human rights, the Declaration of Independence remains a guiding light. Its words remind us of the power of ideas to transform society and the importance of standing up for what we believe in. By embracing the principles enshrined in the Declaration and working to create a more just and equitable world, we honor the legacy of those who came before us and pave the way for a brighter future. References: Armitage D., 2007. The Declaration of Independence, A Global History. Harvard University Press. Jefferson T. Franklin B. Adams J. Sherman R. and Livingston R. 1776. The Declaration of Independence, National Archives. Locke J. 1689. The Second Treatise of Government. In Two Treatises of Government, pp. 285446. Awnsham Churchill, Stanton E. C. Mott L. and M. Clintock, M.A., 1848. Declaration of Sentiments. Selected papers of Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony. Wallenfelt, J.C., 2010. The American Revolutionary War and the War of 1812, People, Politics, and Power. Britannica Educational Publishing. Zuckert, M.P., 1996. The Natural Rights Republic. Studies in the Foundation of the American Political Tradition. University of Notre Dame Press. Glossary Deism. a philosophical belief that posits the existence of a supreme being who created the universe but does not intervene directly in its operations. Enlightenment, an intellectual and philosophical movement that dominated the world of ideas in Europe during the 17th and 18th centuries, emphasizing reason, individualism, and skepticism. Natural rights, rights that are believed to be inherent to all humans and not dependent on the laws or customs of any particular culture or government. Self-determination, the process by which a group of people usually possessing a certain degree of national consciousness form their own state and choose their own government. Social contract, a theory that addresses the questions of the origin of society and the legitimacy of the authority of the state over the individual, emphasizing the agreement between the governed and the government. Tyranny, cruel and oppressive government or rule often characterized by the arbitrary exercise of power and the suppression of individual rights. Unalienable rights, rights that cannot be surrendered, sold, or transferred to another person or government, often considered inherent to all human beings. Chapter 9. From Independence to Confederation. The Formation of a New Nation. Introduction. The formation of the United States of America was a pivotal moment in world history, marked by revolutionary ideas and bold actions that would shape the course of the nation for centuries to come. Central to this historical narrative is the Resolution for Independence introduced by Richard Henry Lee and the subsequent adoption of the Declaration of Independence and the Articles of Confederation. These documents not only symbolize the ideological birth of the nation, but also laid the groundwork for its governance and its struggles for unity and effective government. Jensen, 1959. This chapter explores these pivotal events and their profound impacts on the nascent nation, tracing the path from the stirrings of independence to the challenges faced under the Articles of Confederation, the Lee Resolution, and the Declaration of Independence. On June 7, 1776. Richard Henry Lee, a delegate from Virginia, introduced a resolution in the Second Continental Congress that would change the course of American history. Known as the Lee Resolution, it declared that the 13 colonies should be free and independent states, absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown. Meyer, 1997, p. 41. This bold statement was a formal acknowledgement that reconciliation with Great Britain was no longer possible or desirable. The Lee Resolution was a crucial step towards independence, but it was not the final word. Debate on the resolution was postponed for several weeks, allowing time for delegates to consult with their constituents and for Thomas Jefferson to draft a more formal Declaration of Independence. Meyer, 1997. On July 2, 1776, the Second Continental Congress adopted the Lee Resolution, formally declaring the colonies to be free and independent states. This momentous act stated, resolved, that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. Zinn, 2015, p. 67. This formal act of declaring independence was necessary, but not sufficient for the colonies to achieve true independence. It served as a formal severance of political ties with Great Britain, setting the stage for the creation of a new nation. However, merely 2 days later, on July 4, 1776, the Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, a document that extended beyond the practical implications of Lee's resolution. Drafted primarily by Thomas Jefferson with input from John Adams and Benjamin Franklin, the Declaration provided philosophical and historical justifications for the break from Britain, Armitage, 2008. It was not only a declaration of independence, but also a manifesto articulating the principles of individual rights and government by consent. The Declaration of Independence was a masterful piece of political philosophy and propaganda. It began with a preamble that asserted the natural rights of all men and the purpose of government to secure those rights. It then listed a long train of abuses by the British king, arguing that these abuses justified the colony's right to revolt and establish a new government, Zinn 2015. This broader, more profound declaration served as both domestic and international propaganda aimed at garnering support for the revolutionary cause. The Declaration of Independence was not just a document, it was a bold statement of the American ideal of liberty and self-governance. It asserted that all men are created equal and endowed with inalienable rights, and that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, Armitage 2008. These ideas, while not fully realized at the time, would become the guiding principles of the American nation. The Articles of Confederation, America's first constitution. Even as the war for independence raged, the need for a formal government structure led to the drafting of the Articles of Confederation, which became America's first constitution. Drafted by John Dickinson and revised by the Congress, the Articles were adopted in 1777, but not fully ratified by all 13 states until 1781. Jensen, 1959. This delay reflected the challenges of creating a government that could unite the diverse colonies while respecting their individual sovereignty. The Articles of Confederation established a confederation, a loose alliance of sovereign states with a weak central government. Under this system, each state retained its sovereignty, freedom, and independence, while the central government, known as the Congress of the Confederation, had limited powers. Rakove, 1996. This government lacked the authority to levy taxes, regulate interstate commerce, or enforce laws. These limitations reflected the colony's fear of central authority, a legacy of their struggles with Britain. The structure of government under the Articles was designed to prevent the concentration of power. The Congress of the Confederation was a unicameral legislature, with each state having one vote regardless of size or population. Rakov, 1996. This ensured that smaller states had equal say in national affairs. But it also made it difficult to pass legislation, as 9 of the 13 states had to agree. The executive branch under the Articles was weak and decentralized. There was no single executive, such as a president. Instead, executive functions were carried out by committees and departments. Jensen, 1959. This lack of a strong executive made it difficult for the government to act decisively, especially in times of crisis. Despite its weaknesses, the Articles of Confederation did have some successes. It conducted the war effort, established a national currency, and created a system for the orderly expansion of the nation through the Northwest Ordinance. Rakova, 1996. However, these successes were overshadowed by the growing realization that the Articles were inadequate for the needs of the nation. Economic and governance challenges under the Articles. The lack of a strong central government under the Articles of Confederation led to several significant issues that threatened the stability and prosperity of the new nation. These challenges highlighted the need for a more robust and effective national government. One of the most pressing issues was financial instability. Without the power to tax, the government struggled to pay its debts from the war and fund its operations. Jensen, 1959. This led to a devaluation of the national currency and a general economic downturn. States which had the power to tax were often reluctant to contribute funds to the national government, further exacerbating the financial crisis. Another significant challenge was interstate disputes. The government had no means to resolve conflicts between states, which sometimes escalated into open confrontation. Rakov, 1996. This was particularly evident in disputes over trade and commerce. States often set up trade barriers and tariffs against each other, hindering the development of a national economy. Foreign policy also suffered under the Articles of Confederation. The weak federal government could not effectively negotiate with foreign governments, complicating diplomatic and trade relationships. Jensen, 1959. This was particularly problematic in dealing with the great powers of Europe, who saw the new nation as weak and divided. These issues underscored the inefficacy of the Articles of Confederation. It became increasingly clear that the nation needed a stronger, more effective central government to address these challenges and ensure the survival of the Republic. The Annapolis Convention and the Road to the Constitution. The weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation came to a head in 1786 at the Annapolis Convention. Originally convened to address issues of interstate trade and economic policy, the convention highlighted the disunity and lack of federal authority under the Articles, Beeman 2010. Despite the critical agenda, only 5 states sent delegates, underscoring the lack of commitment to national governance. However, the Annapolis Convention was significant because it set the stage for the Philadelphia Convention in 1787. Alexander Hamilton, one of the few delegates at Annapolis, recognized the inadequacies of the Articles and drafted a report calling for another convention with a broader mandate to revise the national government. Beeman, 2010. This call was taken up by Congress, which invited the states to send delegates to Philadelphia for the sole and express purpose of revising the Articles of Confederation. Rakove, 1996, p. 31. The Philadelphia Convention, which began in May 1787, quickly moved beyond its original mandate. Under the leadership of James Madison and others, the delegates began drafting a new constitution that would create a stronger federal government while still preserving the rights of states and individuals. Beeman, 2010. This process was not without controversy and compromise, but it ultimately resulted in the Constitution of the United States, which was signed on September 17, 1787. The adoption of the Constitution marked a significant shift in American governance. It created a federal system that divided power between the national government and the states. It also established 3 branches of government, legislative, executive, and judicial, with checks and balances to prevent the concentration of power. Rakove, 1996. This system, while not perfect, proved more effective than the Articles of Confederation in addressing the challenges faced by the new nation. Conclusion. The period between the adoption of the Lee Resolution and the drafting of the U.S. Constitution was a time of immense change and challenge for the United States. It was a time of bold ideas and practical experimentation as the new nation sought to establish a government that could ensure liberty, prosperity, and stability. The Declaration of Independence, with its powerful assertion of individual rights and government by consent, set the ideological foundation for the nation. The Articles of Confederation, while ultimately inadequate, represented an important first attempt at national governance. And the Constitution, born out of the failures of the Articles, established a more effective federal system that has endured for over 2 centuries. This period was foundational for the United States. It was a time of intense debate and compromise, of trial and error. The leaders of the time, from Jefferson and Adams to Madison and Hamilton, grappled with the fundamental questions of governance and liberty. Their struggles and successes laid the groundwork for the nation we know today. In the end, the transition from the Articles of Confederation to the Constitution marked a pivotal shift towards a stronger federal government, reflecting the lessons learned from the weaknesses of the Confederation. This evolution was crucial for the survival and growth of the new nation, ensuring that the ideals set forth in the Declaration of Independence would endure and evolve into a functioning democratic system. As we reflect on this period, we can appreciate the courage, wisdom, and foresight of the founders who navigated uncharted political waters to create a nation dedicated to the principles of liberty and self-governance. References: Armitage D., 2008. The Declaration of Independence, A Global History. Harvard University Press. Beeman R., 2010. Plain Honest Men, The Making of the American Constitution. Random House. Jensen M., 1959. The Articles of Confederation, An Interpretation of the Social Constitutional History of the American Revolution, 1774-1781. University of Wisconsin Press. Meyer, P., 1997. American Scripture, Making the Declaration of Independence. Alfred A. Knopf. Rakov, J. N., 1996. Original Meanings, Politics and Ideas in the Making of the Constitution. Alfred A. Knopf, Zinn H., 2015. A People's History of the United States, 1492-present. Routledge. Glossary Articles of Confederation. The first Constitution of the United States, establishing a loose confederation of sovereign states with a weak central government. It was in effect from 1781 until 1789. Confederation. A system of government where sovereign states are united by a central government that has limited powers. This was the system established by the Articles of Confederation. Congress of the Confederation. The legislative body established under the Articles of Confederation. It was a unicameral legislature where each state had one vote regardless of size or population. Constitution of the United States. The supreme law of the United States, establishing the framework for the federal government and outlining the rights of citizens. It replaced the Articles of Confederation in 1789. Declaration of Independence, the document primarily written by Thomas Jefferson that formally declared the United States' independence from Great Britain. It was adopted by the Second Continental Congress on July 4, 1776. Federal system. A system of government where power is divided between a central government and regional governments, such as states. This system was established by the U.S. Constitution. Lee Resolution. The resolution introduced by Richard Henry Lee in the Second Continental Congress on June 7, 1776, which called for the colony's independence from Great Britain. It was formally adopted on July 2, 1776. Northwest Ordinance, a law passed by the Congress of the Confederation in 1787 that established the process for admitting new states to the Union from the Northwest Territory. Second Continental Congress, the meeting of delegates from the 13 colonies that served as the de facto national government during the American Revolution. It operated from 1775 to 1781,